work. Say it again, man, and that's a reverse. Never be 4 minutes trying to get what I've been giving out. Do it for the tickets out. Listen to the critics, I'ma push them to the limit. And these rappers getting timid. I've been balling like a prove it out. Step between the scrimmage. I just 4 minutes trying to get what I've been giving out. Do it for the tickets out. Listen to the critics, I'ma push them to the limit. And these rappers getting timid. I've been balling like a prove it out. Step between this mission.
Good afternoon and welcome to Strength in Depth 2020. We are so excited to be indoors here at Excel. I'm delighted to be joined by Ben Massey, Games athlete. Ben, welcome back. It's been an incredible start to the competition. Starting on the Friday, as mentioned earlier, 3-day comp, sellout crowd, hugely excited. This is going to be one hell of a weekend.
What a weekend we've got jam-packed for everyone at home. Yeah, amazing to be here. We've already had our first event, which just was a great spectacle, and now we've come inside for the excitement.
I think it's so exciting to be inside the arena. This arena is huge. We're in a bigger space than last year. We've got a sellout crowd, as I mentioned. It's like they had to get extra seats in. The demand was so high. Phenomenal effort by Ollie and Megan Mansbridge. We mentioned them earlier. It's so good to see so many people coming in. It's 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, but we know under the lights later on this place is going to be rammed and the atmosphere is just going to be intense.
It's absolutely electric. I mean, you know, what we've got coming up over this weekend, we've got events that we've never seen before. We've got the introduction of the Affiliate Cup, which also brings our community together. I mean, the whole spectacle is going to be phenomenal.
We can't wait. Literally, we've been chomping at the bit here. You can see us on the big screen inside the venue. Like another first for this event. It's so great to see how this event has evolved, is evolving, and it's great to see so many fantastic athletes coming over here. Matt Fraser in the elite men's. We've got Rich Froning as part of his CrossFit Mayhem Freedom. And then we've got Laura Horvath and so many amazing athletes in the female division. It's such an incredible lineup for the weekend, right?
Yeah, I'm just hats off to Ollie for putting on such a good show that they all want to be here. Really good. And
actually, we're going to go down to our arena side presenter. We're going to say hello to Lauren. Hi, Lauren.
Hey, guys. How are you both doing? I'm going to be on the floor collecting all of the reaction from athletes over the course of the weekend. And it really doesn't get more exciting than Friday night lights in the Knocker Arena. And it's the first time that this competition has done that. And of course, over here, the wonderful crowds are filling up. And it's the first time that we're getting a sense of the noise and the enthusiasm for CrossFit in this country. Tonight's going to be amazing. And the stand is one of my favorite games workouts. And I can't wait to see how it all throws down tonight.
Thanks, Lauren. It's great to see you out there on the competition floor. Talking about the competition, the structure of the Open has changed a little bit again from last year. Sanctionals do qualify male, female, and team to the games in the summer. The Open has opened up a few doors. Excuse the terminology there. We've seen Zach George and Meg Lovegrove from the UK qualify, but there's an awful lot of guys and girls here today and over the weekend who have got a lot riding on this competition. Give us your thoughts on qualification for the games and what this sanctional means to those athletes.
This is potentially their last chance saloon to really get to where they want to be. Everyone wants to be at the games, and this is them putting it all on the line and trying to stamp their ticket. We've got a few big names that haven't qualified yet. We've got Lucas Hogberg, we've got David Shirunki, we've got Taylor Howe, we've got Steph Chung, amongst a huge field, and I think they're all going to really be fighting for every point they can to make it to Madison. And
we chatted this morning around who your standouts are. For those that may have missed that, just maybe revisit. Have you, after the first event, have you made any adjustments to your predictions for the weekend?
I said Hayley Adams from the get-go, and she's already come second. In event number one, so amazing effort by her. I'm looking at David as potentially punching his ticket. He's got to fight against the big names, Lucas being one of them. And then on the team front, there was a bit of a surprise with Mayhem moving down. So I think we all want to see a competition, don't we? We don't want to see Mayhem come here and destroy everyone. We want to see if people can push them, and it's looking like they're going to be fired up and ready to go.
Well, actually, we're going to go and have a look at the results from earlier today. We're going to go through the women's competition firstly. Karis Webster, phenomenal effort for her on the run. But Hayley Adams looked very comfortable, and we were chatting to Chris Hinshaw. He was here with us in the commentary booth, and he was talking about Hayley was conserving energy. She didn't put a sprint finish in for that run because she knew where she was, she felt comfortable, and she was always looking forward to the next set of events. Thoughts on that top 10 so far and that opening set of performances from the women?
I think it's a good marker. It's a sort of mark in the sand, so to speak. But the run is quite a specialist event, shall we say. So I think whilst some of the top athletes will take comfort from where they've positioned, I think the other athletes may jiggle around a bit as we move through the competition.
Who on that top 10, we've spoken about making the move. You've got Hayley as your number one pick probably, but you mentioned, Taylor, how homegrown talent, she's not naturally, let's say, built for the run, but she is built fantastically well for the rest of these events, so she's got a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, it's all about her building up points now.
Absolutely. We're actually now going to have a look at the results from the men's first heat, on the first event rather. So let's have a look at the top 10. Roman Falono, he came in and just blitzed the course, beating the nearest competitor, Lucas Hogberg, by 10 seconds. That's a phenomenal effort on the back of a 6K run. And we interviewed him after the event. He looked very fresh. He looked very happy with his effort. Thoughts on him? And then obviously Matt Fraser. We haven't even mentioned Matt really so far. Four-time CrossFit Games World Champion is here in London, and he came in 6th. Is he going to be worried about that? So thoughts on that sort of opening gambit from those guys?
Well, going back to Romain, he said, he was quite honest, and he said, look, this is the workout I know I can get points on. So he obviously worked hard and did what he needed to do. And I don't think Matt's going to be phased. You know, he's really at the top of the pack. And now it's just going to be about him demolishing the rest of the competition.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how Matt performs over the weekend. And we mentioned earlier about potential shock in the teams. CrossFit Mayhem Freedom came 9th in the team competition. There's 19 teams in the elite comp for the teams, and Team Wade, predominantly based out of Ireland, came in and have really laid down a marker for this weekend.
Yeah, it's amazing. Team Wade just showed us how to do it.
Yeah, we're just having a look at that. And Team Wade, I think, throughout the workout looked fresh, they looked ready, they looked prepared. Not to say other teams weren't, but they, at the end of that, when they crossed the line, they didn't look fussed at all. No,
and I think it's a testament to the caliber of athletes they've got. They've all been to the games, similar to Mayhem. But, you know, let's see how it turns out when the workouts get a little bit more CrossFit-y, the skill level goes up. You know, I think Mayhem are going to really be chasing everyone down.
I know, we're going to give Mayhem a lot of attention, rightfully so. Their team is one of the strongest ever. And when we start to see how this works out, we're actually going to go down to the floor. This is event number 2. Then the event is called the Standard. And so the actual workout is 4-time, 30 clean and jerks for the women, 42.5 kgs, men, 62.5 kgs, followed by 30 ring muscle ups, finished off by 30 snatches at 62.5, 42.5. Let's get down to the floor and let's have a look at see how those women get on.
So this is a repeat workout from the games this year, and it's quite interesting to look at the stats. We've got some stats to compare from the game. So Hayley Adams took 8th in this at the games with a time of 10:40. Similarly, the top male athletes, Matt Fraser, came 1st in a time of 8:05. So there's the sort of times we're looking at for top athletes.
So we're looking at a 14-minute time cap for the women in this competition. Already we're seeing people move down the floor. As you look at the screen for the folks watching at home, it's lanes 1 to 10 from left to right on your screen. As we look at this, There's a lot of going. There's nobody kind of going unbroken in this. Is this energy conservation? Is it the weight of the bar? Thoughts on that and the challenges this workout poses?
Well, the great thing is these athletes can have watched the top tier of the world complete this workout, so they can kind of take some cues from how they did it at the games. And I think it's very sensible, if you're going to struggle with ring muscle ups, let's start with singles, keep your heart rate down, move through nicely, and then jump onto the rings and go for a bigger set, rather than burning yourself out on these clean and jerks and really struggling on the rings.
As we see here on the floor, there's not too much in that. It looks like in lane number 5, lanes 4 and 5 look like they're very closely matched right now. We'll have the lane draw for you shortly, so we'll be able to take you through who's in what lane. So we've got Belinda Becker there in lane 4 with Maddie Edwards in lane 5. So we'll actually take you through that lane order from left to right. You're going to be from Great Britain, we've got Lois Smith. In lane 2, it's Gabrielle Oka. In lane 3, it's Daria Chizelesevich. Lane 4, Belinda Decker, as we said. Lane 5, Maddie Edwards. Lane 6, Cara Ogilvie-Brown. Lane 7, Laura Isapuso. Lane 8, Sarah Adams. And lane 9, Linda Koosman. So we're just following that. This is our current heat leader. It's in lane 4. It's Belinda Becker. So we'll just have an eye on her as we go into her ring muscle ups. Thoughts on her movements so far? She's looked like she started quite strongly in this workout then.
Very strongly, and I reckon she's probably conserved a little bit, held a bit back, aware that the 30 ring muscle ups are going to be the thing that separates the pack. So she's taking her time.
She's in no rush. Is that her again getting breath on the back of that first part of the workout?
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to these complex gymnastic movements, you want to keep your heart rate down, keep the tension through your system. And that was a set of 4, pretty decent set to start off with, but I would say there'll be some athletes who are going to hit about 6 to 8 reps to start with. Looking like lane 5 is moving really nicely. Maddie Edwards.
So in lane 6, we're actually here watching Carrie Ogilvie-Brown. She's looking very comfortable on her muscle ups there. She looks very strong, as we said that. Commentator's curse, she drops off.
But that was actually a big set before we cut to her. Gabrielle Oka, nice big kip, maintaining that tension through her midline, and then a pop over the rings. Good lockout as well.
Did it look like she was no rep in the middle of that one? Do we know if she missed one?
I think she looked good there.
How much of a gasser is this workout, Ben? Is this is going to hurt, right?
In terms of pacing this workout, it is steady on the first part, chip your way through the muscle ups, and then just hold on the snatches.
What would be the bit you'd be most looking forward to as this workout goes through? As you're taking part in this, imagine you've done this, which you probably did actually if you did the Open. If you were here, what would you be looking forward to?
The muscle ups are always fun. Nice big sets of muscle ups. They're a challenge. They're also the Gucci move, should we say, in the gym. Everyone wants to be able to do a muscle up. So we're 5 minutes in, and it's looking like most athletes are making decent headway on the muscle ups. Hit to Laura there. Let's see. 17 reps completed, it looks like. And taking a break there.
How important for fans watching at home, how important is the use of the chalk in terms of providing that additional bit of grip, protection for the hands? Obviously there's a lot of preservation involved as well in terms of, again, thinking further on down the line. Now a lot of these athletes will just go, they'll rip it, they'll do it, but obviously there is still some thought around making sure that grip is strong. Just give us your thoughts on how that plays into it in terms of the use of chalk to let's say improve performance or protect performance.
Yeah, hands you want to look after your hands for the entire weekend, you've got to use them for a lot of movements, and they're really key to your performance. So they'll be thinking, use the chalk. Using the chalk is going to really help with the grip, and the bigger sets they can do, the faster they're going to be onto those snatches and moving onward.
And it looks like she's your leader so far in this heat, with 7 minutes 30 seconds to go.
So Sarah's struggling slightly there. She's just going to have to really be aware of her pacing before she goes up for that next set. You don't want to waste any energy on miss reps.
So there's even energy being exerted to get up, to actually get onto the rings as well.
So we should start to see some athletes moving onto their snatches.
The Belinda Becker still seems to be performing well. And then we've got Laura Isapuso here, taking a bit of a rest from the workout. Looks like she's got 5 reps left from looking at her judge there. Is she going to be the first one that makes a move to get onto these final 30 snatches? So we are coming up to 8 minutes into the time cap of 14 minutes.
And this is the first heat out. There's going to be, and Laura looks like she's moving on to her snatches.
Here we go. So Laura Isapuso is our first mover on this workout. So she has got pole position to take the heat win here. 30 snatches at 42.5 kilograms. How heavy is that going to feel after all of those ring muscle ups and the clean and jerks beforehand?
It's one of those weights that is light enough that you should be able to keep moving, but heavy enough that each one is a bit of a slog. This is a kind of combination of a load of signature CrossFit workouts. This would be the Isabel, so 30 for time. She'd probably do big sets unbroken, and now she's having to head for singles. So just proof that the previous movements have been quite taxing.
He's looking strong here, though, so it's a great first move in this the first heat of the afternoon session. We're going to be here through till just before 7 o'clock with 3 of the women's heats, 3 of the men's heats, and then 2 event heats for the team. So there's a lot of action to look forward to in the Friday Night Lights. As you can see in the background there, the arena is filling up. Nearly 4,000 tickets have been sold for today, another 4,000 tomorrow and another 4 on Sunday. So that's hugely exciting to see so many people coming to support these athletes.
And the athletes will really feed off of that energy as they are working their way through, grinding through the workouts. We've got 4 females on the snatches now. This is going to start to be where one will make a statement. Will they start really pushing? They're going to be wanting to fight for every single rep.
Well, we've seen how important competition places are in terms of finishing. In whatever heat you're in, finishing with the fastest time, whatever it may be, the difference that a couple of places can make to your final place come the end of the weekend is massive. We saw in the team competition that the current standings is that you've got Team Wade have got a 62-point lead on CrossFit Mayhem Freedom, and you see that there's that means those guys have got to nearly win every heat over the weekend to give themselves a chance of winning. So final position is critical to giving yourself the best chance of winning.
Yeah, the points, especially in the team competition, which we'll delve into more, but essentially you get comparatively more points by placing higher. So Sarah finishing, it's very strong now, first off the rings, and it looks like if everything goes to plan, she is going to be the first to finish her snatches. We've got Carrie working nicely in the background. And that's Laura finishing very strong in an unofficial time of 11 minutes, setting down a marker.
So we're going to keep an eye on that to see where that sets her up across the rest of the field. Obviously 2 more heats to come in the women's competition. She looks like she's got a decent lead. She has opened up a great lead in that comp to really give ourselves the chance of putting herself into a great scoring position for the overall competition.
So this is Carrie looking to finish up on her snatches. Again. So final set of 10, they're moving the bar every 10. Nice way of telling the story as they progress through the workout. So it's looking like it's between Carrie and lane 8. Gabrielle Ocker looking like she's going to be finishing. And
there we are. So
finishes.
Gabrielle takes the second place in that heat. She looks delighted with herself and also absolutely shattered in the same process.
And that's always the great thing about workouts is
the joy.
The joy of finishing.
And the despair of the pain. So it looks like there's
Carrie to finish.
Carrie with 5 reps to go.
One more for Carrie, lip reading the judge.
There we go.
And then it's looking like lane 9 is going to be the next to cross the line.
Looks like it's going to be Lois Smith.
Touch and go for Lois.
There she is.
Strong finish for Lois, well done. We've still got a few athletes still working away.
So that's Belinda Becker, who started with the clean and jerks in fine form, but those muscle-ups seem to slow her down considerably. So it looks like maybe muscle-ups may not be her strongest, and that has possibly hurt her in this overall heat. But there's still 30 seconds, just over 30 seconds left on the time cap. So let's see if we can get all the athletes under that time cap. Looks like it's going to be close in that far lane.
So the benefit, well, not the benefit, but if you're struggling on the gymnastics, this athlete here in lane 1
this is Linda Koosman.
Linda flying through her snatches, touch and go, just get as many reps as you can. You can hear the crowd roaring her on. And time. And
there's the time cap. Unfortunately, Linda was not able to beat the time cap there, but congratulations to all of those athletes in that first heat here in the Inoko Arena. A fantastic effort to get Friday Night Lights underway. We've got heat 2 coming up shortly, but Ben, we've seen a few of those athletes now make their attempts at that first workout. Do you think any of the other athletes looking at that will have learned anything from that, or will they have taken more of their learnings from the actual workout from when it was first published?
Yeah, I don't think there'll be much chance for these athletes to be able to view the workout whilst others are competing. So they're going to take what they've learned in the build-up and they'll probably stick with their game plan.
But we've got more time here to have a look at some replays of that first heat. And I think Lauren's actually, she's got our heat winner. Lauren, have you got a heat winner down there? Apologies there, slight technical challenge there, but we'll go back to Lauren shortly. But Ben, thoughts on Laura's performance? She has come in, really good first impression on that, and it sort of seems that she's given herself a great chance of putting herself into the mix. So if she's winning this heat. Now, that might not be good enough for top 10, but it's a first marker in the sand for her.
Yeah, and she can build great confidence from moving through this workout so well in such fine form. I think she paced it exactly right. You know, she was steady out the gate on the clean and jerks, smooth sets on the muscle ups and then just went to town on the snatches. And I think we're going to see that same theme throughout this workout in particular.
So we've obviously still got 20 more of the female athletes to come through on this in this comp, in this heat. So it's critical to see how they're going to come up and line up and approach this workout. We've seen pretty much everybody kind of go touch and go pretty much, or up in singles down and then but move quickly. Nobody's really gone unbroken, as we've seen, as you mentioned, important to pace yourself in such a burning workout. And it's great to sort of see these athletes sort of coming in here into this sellout arena. As we said, it's like you can just see the site is just so much bigger this year. Actually, we're just hearing that Lauren is actually with our heat winner, Laura. So over to you, Lauren.
Yes, I am, Laura. You told me you'd practiced that one at home. Did it come out like you'd planned?
Yeah, I did like I planned. I was a bit slower, but I made one mistake in the muscle up, so it's cost a couple of seconds. But otherwise, it went as the same way.
You told me earlier that there was one no rep out there that really cost you. How do you get your mind back into the game when something like that happens?
I don't know. I try to chill out and enjoy doing this, and it's my hobby and I love it. So it's cool to be in the event with a big crowd.
Now, you've got a little bit of experience with Sanctionals. You've been to Dubai as part of the team this season, Lowlands last season.
Yeah.
Do you feel you're getting the hang of this, given the move from regionals to the sanctional events?
Yeah, I feel it, and you get more experience every time and learn how it works and getting better shape every time, so it's a little bit easier.
Well, congratulations, unofficial heat winner. Lovely speaking to you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren. Great to hear from Laura there. Sounds like she really did target this event, and we're just looking back on her efforts there on the workout. It was fascinating to hear what she had to say on that one, Ben, in terms of her tactical thinking and justification for the approach she's taken on that.
Yeah, and well, the proof's in the pudding, right? You can see as she said, she really thought about the pacing, slightly took it off a little bit, and she excelled in the end there. So a nice 11-second buffer between her and number 2, Sarah Adams.
Yeah, so we're seeing the times there from that first heat of the second event. Now, this isn't the sequence. Well, actually, no, we don't have that. That's the team standings from the first round. But we will bring you those women's results from the first heat as soon as we get the official results. So I think we're just a final double check on that. We're just a few minutes away from heat number 2. Okay, so here we go. In the sequence of winning at the winner at the top, we had Laura Isapisu from Finland winning that heat in 10:57. So 10:57 is an impressive marker in this workout, as you were talking about before with other elite performances from the previous version of this workout where it's been seen before. That's not far off when you see what Hayley Adams did with that at the Games. So she did that in 10:40. Laura Isapisu has done that in 10:57. So that is a competitive mark to lay down. So great from her. We're now going to go down to the floor because we are ready for heat number 2 of event number 2 to start. As soon as we get the lane draw, we'll take you through that. How do these athletes feel when you're waiting for this moment?
This is like the best moment. The heart rate's just about to go. Just as you're about to step onto the floor, the most exciting part of the day.
Well, here we go. We are on and we're ready for Heat 2, event number 2 of the CrossFit Strength in Depth event here in London Excel. Now, these guys seem to have gone off a bit quicker than that first heat. There's seems to be a greater, not a greater level of intent, but they seem to be a little bit faster in attacking this workout.
Well, I think, you know, the crowd is large in there. The adrenaline is going to be pumping through your veins. And when you run out, it really gets you going. So you might set off a little bit off the pace you want to, but it's I'm sure they'll settle into a rhythm. We've already got several athletes moving their bar forward. Kelsey Keel in
is
the middle
flying
there.
through that as a starting point. Maybe she was feeling a little bit disappointed after her run effort today. When we see what she achieved on the run, she was not maybe as high as she possibly hoped she would be. But,
I also think Kelsey will be aware that muscle-ups perhaps aren't her strong point. She's a slightly larger athlete, very, very powerful, so she wants to get these done quickly to give her a buffer, because she knows, and I'd say she'll probably be very strict on the sets and reps she does for her muscle-up sets.
So for people at home who are watching, Kelsey came in 23rd in event number 1. So as we're just talking about there, maybe run is not her strong point, but lifting bars and moving tin is definitely in her sweet spot. So it'd be interesting to see how she counters this with her her ring muscle-ups, to see what sort of impression she can make on this floor. A question for you, Ben. You've been to the games. You went to the first games in Madison. What was the adrenaline like for you, and do you think it could ever hurt you a little bit to be too filled with adrenaline as you go into a workout? Is there a danger you can burn out because you're so hyped up ready for a workout?
Of course, it can go, you know, adrenaline is such a funny thing. It can be a huge advantage or a huge disadvantage, and it's really learning how to manage it and how you use it. Some athletes hate the adrenaline. I personally absolutely love it. I really thrive off it. But, you know, it's the more experience you get and the more you expose yourself to having to deal with those big adrenaline dumps, the more likely you are to be successful when you compete.
Here we go. We have got Nicole Patel moving back for the ring muscle-ups here. Looks like a couple more athletes have done the same thing. So actually, this is a pretty close workout. We can see just further along the floor that Kelsey Kyle has reached the bar muscle-up stage. So we'll have a look at her and have a look at the other athletes as they do it. So every single athlete is on the bar muscle-up. So here's Kelsey Kyle as she moves in. Now she's taking big deep breaths, really thinking about the approach for this. It'll be interesting now to see how many reps she will go for before taking a break.
That's 3. Yeah, so she's going to go for 10 sets of 3, which I think is a really sensible tactic. There'll be other athletes that are probably going to go for bigger sets, but when they get on the bar, will they be able to hold on to it like she can? I'd hazard a guess that she's probably going to do much bigger sets when she gets back onto that
have a
barbell.
look here at Paige Powers. Let's see her in comparison to Kelsey Keel, and just to see how her approach and her technique is different. She's gone for 3 there as well. No, she's going for the 4th.
Already 3 minutes and 40 seconds in.
And Paige is an amazing athlete. You know, she's competed for the last few years at the CrossFit Games teen competition, has done phenomenally well, and now this is her kind of first foray into grown-up territory. She's mixing it with them like she's been there before.
Well, we look at the likes of Hayley Adams, who we'll see in the next heat, and it looks like that Paige is potentially the heir to Hayley Adams' throne, and Hayley hasn't really left the throne yet either, has she? So, but it shows how much talent there is out there in the sport of CrossFit and the impact that this sport has on people. And it's great to see somebody like Paige here out on the floor competing so strongly in her first, as you said, grown-up competition.
These are lovely shapes by Caris. Now she just drops down there, taking a breather. I wonder if we can go back to Paige and see how Paige is doing.
Well, Paige actually, just to keep talking about Paige in that first heat, in the first event, she came through in 16th place. So 16th for Paige, and she scored 23 points from that. So look, they'll be interested to see how she develops over the weekend and how she gets on in this competition.
Yeah, so we're looking at about 7 minutes into the time cap. This was kind of similar sort of spot to they were in the previous heat. So we'd hopefully start to see some athletes move off the rings in the next minute or so. Otherwise, our Heat 1 winner could end up being our Heat 2 leader as well, which is going to be really interesting to see how that pans out.
How taxing is the ring muscle up compared to a bar muscle up? What do you think is, as a movement, is an easier movement when it comes to a muscle up? Because they're not easy. Chris Hinshaw was talking earlier today around what's the difference between a recreational and a competitive athlete, and he said a competitive athlete is somebody who can essentially do everything with their eyes closed. They would be able to do every single movement. Now, everybody who's out on the let's say recreational CrossFit world, who do their workouts, they go in, they're in there, the weekend warriors, if you like. They know how difficult a muscle up is, regardless if it's on a ring or the bar. But just how difficult is it for these guys to do this volume on this workout?
I think when you're at this level, you should be not too phased by the movement. But if you were to pick one or the other, I'd certainly say the ring muscle up is much more taxing than a bar muscle up, purely because of the instability within the rings. You're going to test all those little stabilizer muscles throughout your shoulders, and on the bar, because it's fixed, perhaps you don't have to worry so much about your positioning. You can get away with a poor rep, whereas on the rings it will punish you, and it's not going to let you move on so much.
So when you, again, just going back to your experience as an athlete at the games, regional athlete as well, was there ever a workout that you looked at and thought, oh, no, I don't want to do that? Here we go. So actually this is Marika Henriksson in lane number 1, is the first one off the ring muscle up. So she's again in prime position. She's coming up to just 7 minutes and 20 seconds. So she's got 3 minutes or so. And that's lane 7, coming off lane 7. That's Nicole Chauvin. So we've got 2 athletes here who are making a fine run at that winning time from Laura Isapuso in that first heat. So it'll be interesting to see how these 2 athletes compare as we try and sort of see them head to head.
And it's looking like Nicole's cycle speed is faster than lane 1, but look, Kelsey Keel.
And here's Kelsey Keel now. She might be moving a lot quicker than both of these athletes, because this is now banging her sweet spot for moving through this. And as you're talking about the cycle movement through this, can she overtake these 2 athletes to make this move?
Yeah, I think she's going to do really, really well moving that barbell in lane 5.
So it's great to see such close competition. Here we go. So that's lane number 7. That's Nicole moving her bar up. Can Kelsey Keel catch up? She looks pretty comfortable though, Nicole, doesn't she, right now?
She does. Great setup. She just grips, and then lifts. And that's a really important thing to learn when you're cycling these moderately light loads. We don't want to worry too much whether our hand position is perfect every time.
So out there down in lane 1, Mirka Henriksson is still keeping up with both lanes 6 and 7. She's our Finnish competitor here, is keeping up with the Americans, Kelsey Keel and Nicole Chauvin. So very interested to see who's going to take this win. We're coming up to just gone past 9 minutes on the clock, so we're coming up to the 10-minute mark. With that winning time from that first heat from Laura was 10:57. So that 10:57 mark, I think, looks like it's under a bit of pressure.
It's all going to be about whether they can hang on. If they get a super pumped forearms, are they going to be able to finish strong? It's between lane 7 and lane 1. Will Kelsey make her move? She's yet to move forward to her final set of 10. It's looking like 3 reps done for lane 7.
So Kelsey is on to her last set of 10. But it is between lanes 1 and lane 7 right now. That's Mirka Henriksson and Nicole Chauvin in lane 7. It's hard to pick it. It's hard to call it this one, Ben, I think.
I think the cycle reps of lane 7 are much faster. Grip and rip.
It's great to see the 2 athletes side by side here on the main feed. Here we go. It's going to be Nicole taking the win. And she has got over the line unofficially we should say, in 10 minutes 20. That's a phenomenal score. If she's done that in 10:20, she is another person in the mix. And then we've got Mirka crossing the line in lane number 1, also in a phenomenally fast time, looking at 10:27 there or thereabouts. So That's 2 athletes who have gone under heat number 1's winner, but heat 1, Laura, and here's Kelsey Keel coming over in 10:40 unofficially. So 3 athletes now. That's 3 athletes from heat number 2 have put themselves ahead of the winner from heat number 1. So that means these guys are going to be putting themselves certainly into close to the top half of the table for this event.
Absolutely.
Here's Paige Bowers in lane 4.
Well done,
Looks
Paige.
like she's going to be come over and taking 4th place in the heat, which phenomenal effort, just over 11 minutes on that. So after her 16th place in the run in event number 1, it looks like she's going to be claiming some good points here and making a fantastic impression in her first elite field event. We're here looking at lane 9 and 10. That's Lisa from Germany and Nicole Petel. Looking like they're going to be closing in on finishing this heat, again, well within the time cap.
And now the dominoes start to fall as they all kind of bring it in and start to finish their workout. Solid finish. Lane 5, and a little smile and grimace. So all athletes in this heat are going to make it off the rings. Lane 9, Lisa Cole, finishing up strong. 1 rep remains.
So look at that time, and that's 12, just coming up to 12.5 minutes for that result. So that's a great effort from her. That was Lisa Abel in lane number 9 crossing the line. We've got lane 10 looking out there. Looks like she's got less than 5 heats. This is lane 2. This is Kirsty Oliver in lane number 2. Looking strong. Looks like maybe all of these athletes will beat the time cap. Just over a minute to go. That's Kirsty getting over the line. Well done to her in 13 minutes 5 seconds unofficially. So great effort from her in that heat. And there's Nicole Patel crossing the line. So congratulations to her as well. So it looks like we've got just two athletes out on the floor for this final, for the final push. So 30 seconds, just over 30 seconds left on the cap. Can these girls get over the line and beat that time cap of 14 minutes? This is lane 8. This is Maddie Harris.
Maddie moving really nicely. She's been spending a lot of time in the boat, so it'll be interesting to see how she does tomorrow. But
we haven't even spoken about the rowing yet, and I like super excited for the morning, but we will have a proper conversation on that tomorrow. But genuinely cannot wait for that tomorrow. It's going to be so good.
And Maddie finishes, and there's the time.
Well done, Maddie. She's got under the time cap, I think, just about. Congratulations to her in lane number 3. That's Karis Webster. So Karis, who won event number 1, has missed out on the time cap there, so she will probably fall down into the middle of the field. So that is a tough effort for her after such a great start. But we know that run is a bit of a, I suppose it allows some athletes who might not be at the top of the tree come the rest of the weekend to make their mark on this competition and really push and show what they're capable of.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, those specialist events always kind of boost you up really high, and then when you come back, come back down to earth and you're feeling a bit emo. But yeah, I think it's a great event for them.
So just some thoughts on that. There was 3 athletes there who beat, well, I was just saying, unofficially beat the time from heat number 1. That means there's some very, very good times in there. And we were talking about Hayley Adams' time when this workout was previously done in competition format. Interesting to see that Hayley Adams of 10:40 was beaten by 2 athletes there in that heat. So it's their markers. Again, we've spoken about markers in the sand. 2 significant ones there.
Yeah, really significant. And you know, there's great scalps underneath the belt, and they're going to move on nicely into the weekend.
Awesome. Well, actually, perfect timing. Lauren's got our heat winner. Lauren, it's over to you.
I do, Nicole Chavant. We've been told this workout is all about the muscle-ups, but where do you feel you won that one?
I think I just stuck to my plan. Honestly, I was hoping to be 2 to 2.5 minutes on the barbells each time and then stick to 5s on the muscle-ups. So a little bit in the muscle-ups, but just kind of play your own game, stay in your own lane, do your own thing.
There was a good battle going on between yourself and Kelsey Keel. When you're on the floor, are you aware of those things going on around you?
I can see them in the peripheral, but I've competed in multiple events, and so I've kind of learned to just, you can only go as fast as you can go, know what you're capable of and like where you can push and where you can peel back. I wasn't one of the first ones off the clean and jerks. I was probably close to being one of the last ones, so I knew I could make up some time on the muscle ups and the snatches.
So in terms of the weekend, obviously an early heat win will help build confidence.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about it all at this early stage?
Oh, I'm really excited. I was really excited to get the run out of the way. After that, it's smooth sailing, but really, really excited about the row event tomorrow.
Well, we look forward to watching you. We'll see what you got out there on the water.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
I
so much.
appreciate it.
Good luck for the rest of the weekend.
Well, congratulations there to Nicole on taking that heat win. She looked absolutely delighted with herself, and from the sounds of it, she can't wait for the road tomorrow either. So I think there's an awful lot of people can't wait for this road. Okay, so we'll wait for the official times on that, and we'll take you through those results when they come through. This is the lane allocation for heat 3, so the final heat of workout number 2, event number 2, the standard for the females. So I'll take you through the lane order. In lane number 1, we've got Manon Saint-Maxon. In lane 2, it's Alison Scuds. In lane 3, it's Steph Chung. In lane 4, it's Camilla Salamonson. In lane 5, Laura Horvath. Lane 6, Hayley Adams. Lane 7, Gabriella Magala. Lane 8, Emily Lundberg. Lane 9, Taylor Howe. And lane 10, Sapphire Goddard. That's a lineup and a half, isn't it, coming into this final heat, Ben?
Really exciting to watch them. These are the top cream of the crop.
So just before we go into that final female heat, actually we're going to be going to heat number 1 for the men. Apologies, folks. We're going to be going to heat number 1 for the men, so we'll take you through that lane order. So in lane 1, we've got Alex Imbert. In lane 2, Jonah Jones. In lane 3, Joshua Alchama, your favourite who doesn't like running in the cold. Lane 4, Vincent Batista. Lane 5, Tom Wilson. Lane 6, it's Ram Dover. Lane 7, Fernanda Flaneza. In lane 8, Evander Harewood. Lane 9, Owen Roberts. And lane 10, Stephen Turnbull. So a lot of British presence in that first heat. Who would you say would be making their mark out of that heat? Do you reckon Josh, we sort of called Josh out on the run earlier, do you reckon Josh could be that guy from this heat?
You know what, the Brits are looking strong in this one. I'd like to think Tom Wilson's going to make a move, Josh Alshama's going to be looking strong, and also Jonah as well. I think Jonah's a slightly smaller athlete in terms of height. I hope you won't mind me saying that. But I think he's, based on his ability, I would like to think that his muscle-ups are probably going to power him through. And also, actually, let's not forget Evander Harewood either. Really going to be a good race, this one.
We're looking forward to that. We don't have long to wait until these athletes are out on the floor. They're out on the floor right now, and we'll be getting ready to go live down to the floor again for this heat. So this is a reminder. Heat number 1. Event number 2 in the men's elite competition. So where the way that the heats are working, we'll see the first 2 from each, and then we'll see heat 3 for the females and heat 3 from the males before we go into the team comp. So here we are down on the competition floor. That's lane 1, that's Alex Herbert closest to the camera. Jonah Jones in lane 2, Josh Alchama in lane 3. So they're the ones closest to us right now. So let's keep an eye out and see how aggressively they start off on this workout. Fairly paced, evenly paced to go out there. So just, again, first thoughts, Ben, in terms of the attack phase on this workout.
They seem to have gone out a bit like a gun, fast cycle speed, and it's that load that's a bit of a grip and rip. You'll notice Josh isn't really getting underneath the bar in lane 3, he's just push pressing it. I'd like to think that he's perhaps practiced this one, and we don't want his shoulders to burn out on the muscle-ups, but for this guy, you know, he's got 170 kilo clean and jerk. He's probably not going to be worried about 135 pounds or 60 kilos on this workout.
Well, it's handy, isn't it, to have our old little conversion charts in front of us. It always makes a big difference when we can actually make our maths a lot easier. But that is 62.5 kgs. In terms of that as a weight, how challenging is that weight for these elite athletes?
This is a weight you move. It used to be heavy. This is now a workout weight. So it's all about high reps, heart rate up. I should just be able to keep chipping away at this weight.
It's scary to say that used to be a heavy weight, but it's now just a workout weight. That's
and there's Evander looking very strong, moving on to his third set.
As we pan down, that's lane 7, that's Fernando Thanaza. Lane 6, that's rammed over from Israel.
He's actually the national champion of Israel. There's Tom Wilson, looking very strong, coached by Evie Hollis from JST.
That's Vince Petita in lane 4 from the US, and there's Josh Alchama, we've been speaking about him. And there's Jonah Jones in lane 2. You spoke about Jonah in terms of maybe his stature a little bit, but he looks like he is well strong enough to take this on.
Oh yeah, don't let height confuse you, be confused with strength.
So to remind people of the point of difference from this workout for the men, the weight on the bar is 62.5 kgs compared to 42.5 kgs, and the time cap is 12 minutes, not 14 minutes. So it looks like we've got Evander Harewood as our first guy to the bar muscle, sorry, again, ring muscle ups, sorry, not bar muscle ups. This is ring muscle ups. This is the workout that he's going to be facing now, and he's making, again, pretty much straight onto those rings. Let's see what he's going to do from a tactical point of view as he approaches this workout.
And Chris Hinshaw mentioned breathing earlier. He's looking very calm and collected at the moment. So that was a set of 5. As he drops off, I'd like to see him perhaps not be so sporadic with the rings, because then as he comes back round, he's got to now steady them.
So talking about sporadic, does that mean that they come off and they're waving and moving around a lot? So he's got to steady those before he goes back up.
Exactly, and to reach those rings is quite an effort. But Josh is looking very smooth there, and see now how he comes down, steady rings. Jonah Jones as well, nice rhythm on the muscle up. So it almost looks slow, and that's just him breathing, getting his rhythm, but much bigger sets from the guys, looking like 6 to 8 reps before they're coming down. And again, if these athletes have done their homework, they should have a pretty strong idea of how to break this up based on what the athletes did at the CrossFit Games in August.
How much studying of that workout will these athletes have done? Will they have been watching the tactical approach of many of those athletes?
Absolutely. Why would you not? You know, if there's the best in the world have already done something, you always want to watch them and see how they did it. You'd be foolish not to have a look. I imagine we'll start to see some athletes drop down. 4 minutes 10 gone into this 12-minute workout.
So utilising your term sporadic in terms of when he comes off the rings there, it looks like that's happening every time, whereas where Josh is coming off after his sets, and we're using those guys as examples because they're the two that seem to be most prominent in this heat at the moment. It's interesting to see how Evander is coming off and the rings are moving all over the place, whereas Josh is coming down very calmly, very coolly, and looks very much in control of the movement.
Yeah, and you know, I think if you really push the size of your set, you may just run out of energy and not be able to stabilize them. And again, look, he's having a big rest now before his sets. I would say you probably want to break a little bit before failure. We don't want to go into the dead zone, as Chris said, and we just want to undercook it so that we can get back onto the rings nice and quickly.
So we're 5 minutes, just over 5 minutes into the workout. So just a slight change in terms of how the clock is displaying for you guys again at home. We're counting up, so just a reminder, it's a 12-minute time cap. So as we keep an eye on those athletes as they cross the line, you can see their judges on the floor waiting. first athlete to make their way back first one after Evander made such a good start with his clean and jerks. It's going to be very interesting to see now who is the first one off those muscle ups. Here's Jonah making a fantastic effort.
I think it's going to be there's going to be a sort of handful of people who are all going to get onto the bar at the same time. And Jonah advances.
Jonah, and also in lane 7, Fernando Flaneza. So Jonah from the UK and Fernando from Spain are the first two out in this first heat of event number 2 in the elite men's competition.
And Evander, he just needs to try and minimize that rest. Just think fast singles. Every time you lean over to catch your breath, you always spend longer than you hope for.
Here's Jonah. Jonah looks like he's a little bit blown out from this, but he's still... It looks like Jonah is the first one to move up the floor. It is Jonah. So Jonah has the lead in this heat. You called him early. You did call it at the start. So credit to you for shouting out Jonah as a potential winner of this heat.
Thanks, Barry. That's why I'm here. But it looks like lanes 8 and 9 are going to pass Jonah. Evander still moving nicely. In lane 9, we've got...
This is Owen Roberts in lane number 9.
Looking very strong. Big athlete. Fair play to getting through those muscle-ups at the same time as these boys. So every athlete now onto the barbell. Jonah looking across. Who's with me?
Taking a bit long between some of these sets.
But still nice positions he's hitting. Nice flat back position, dropping the hips down.
So
good.
In lane 1, Alex Imber has moved ahead of Josh Alchummer in lane 3. So Josh, looks like we've got Josh, Tom Wilson and Ramdova across lanes 3, 5 and 6 are the ones who are potentially in danger of not breaking the time cap. But actually here in lane number 9, Owen Roberts looks like he's probably the first one to make the move up the floor. So that's lane 3.
Josh Alchummer.
Yeah, so it's Jonah Jones in lane 2. So this is a race between lane number 2, Jonah Jones, and lane number 9, Owen Roberts. This is last 5 reps. He's within 5 reps. He's on 9:26, coming to 9.5 minutes. It looks like we've got Owen is in his last 5. So this is going to be a fascinating end to this heat. There's Owen, looks like he's on his last hit. Jonah Jones has taken the hit, Jonah Jones has taken it in lane number 3. So Ben's prediction here of Jonah being a bit of a potential favourite for this. Congratulations to Jonah, that was a terrific effort from him. And Owen Roberts, again, he came back brilliantly from that, considering he was one of the last onto the ring muscle-ups. He's bounced back and really made his mark on this competition.
And there's Evander Harwood, flat on his back. You can see how the end of this workout is about holding on as long as you can. Surprised to see Josh there. Let's see if Josh can turn it on now. And we've got our friend from Spain.
This is Fernando Flaneza, as he was the first one off the ring muscle-ups, but obviously it seems that the 30 snatches have just been a step too far in terms of cycling through quickly.
He's quite a slight athlete, so in terms of body weight, that's going to be quite a high percentage for him.
Maybe more suited to the gymnastic movement as opposed to the Olympic movement of the bar.
And that's the beauty of this workout. If you are good at both, but not great at both, you're going to do well. If you're good at one thing and not the other.
On the line, so well done to him. He bounced through, but he bounced back after what looked like a tough session on the rings for him, but he's really bounced back strongly to give himself another competitive outing here in this workout. And there's lane number 1, Alex Imber, also crossing the line. So congrats to him. Lane number 10, that's Stephen Turnbull crossing the line out in lane number 10. So great finish efforts for them. 30 seconds left on the time cap. So fascinating to see how many of these guys are getting under the time cap in this first heat of the event number 2 here on Friday evening.
And it does really come down to these muscle-ups. I think that's why perhaps we didn't see as many of the women finish. But they're doing really, really great work.
So just over 10 seconds left on the gap here. The last athlete on the floor. This is Ram Dover here in lane number 6 from Israel. And there's the time cap hooper. That's the 12-minute mark hit. See what it means. See how painful that is for these guys.
And Tom coming in there, good for him. Solid finish for Tom there.
And there's Ram not quite hitting the that time cap limit. So unfortunately, he doesn't quite get that completion of the workout that he would have been looking for. He pushed hard. He came off the ring muscle ups pretty quickly. But those bars are going to be cycled back for the next heat. We're now going to be moving into heat number 2 of event number 2. So we're just going to keep an eye on that. We'll see if we can have a chat to our heat winner. But just thoughts on that first heat and the overall time of the winner. It's like we sort of compared to what they did at the games and the athletes did at the games, and the winner was just over 10 minutes there. So that was quite a long, relatively long workout in terms of being competitive. But we don't know how that's going to lay out next to the rest of the field as we're waiting for the rest of the field to compete in this event.
Yeah, it's you know, it's hard to do a direct comparison. Obviously, this was one of the last event, or it was the last event of the games. They'd have had 4 days of competition. These athletes have only done a run before it, but I think, you know, they've all, bar one, got through the time cap. Really impressed with that. You know, we're chasing down an 8-minute time from the leaders, but I think, you know, first heat, well done. Be great to see what the next heat come up with. Lovely slow-mo of Josh there, his body position. He has to be really efficient when he's going through these movements.
Is that because of his size, his bulk compared to some of the other athletes?
Absolutely. When you're a larger athlete, you really do focus on your shapes and your technique for gymnastics, because it takes a lot of effort to get through the reps when you're a larger athlete.
And that was Owen Roberts in lane number 9, as we discussed, a big athlete, probably carrying a bit of weight in terms of he's 92 kgs compared to some of the other athletes in that heat who've probably got 10 kgs on him, some of them a little bit more, who have got that lighter body frame to carry through those ring muscle ups. So that must make a difference for people.
Yeah, completely. But it should be easier for him to lift the barbell. So like I was saying, you know, it's a bit of a trade-off. You don't want to be massive, you don't want to be small, you don't want to be really good with the barbell, you don't want to be really good on the rings. Hey, that's CrossFit.
Who's got the optimal height? Matt Fraser, maybe. Maybe he's the one who's like the optimal build for a CrossFitter. It was like we were talking with Chris Henshaw earlier about weight difference and the height difference, and that he's actually a little bit heavier than Rich Froning, but has actually kind of got a couple of inches less in height. So it shows he's got the strength and probably that strength to power ratio. So we're just waiting here for heat number 2 event number 2 for the men to get going. The judges are moving into position. Our athletes are not yet out on the floor for heat number 2. All right, guys, we're actually going to take a small little break there. We're going to be back at for 17:20 for heat number 2, and event number 2 will be back shortly. We'll see you soon. Welcome back, folks. We're here for Heat 2, event number 2 in the men's competition. We'll take you through the lane order. In lane number 1, we've got Marcus Ericsson. In lane 2, winner of the first event, Roman Felino. Lane 3, Daniel Skov. Lane 4, Max Ollestrand. Lane 5, Mats Heinz. Lane 6, John Colty. Lane 7, James McLaughlin. Lane 8, Damian Martinez-Sato. And lane 9, Logan Ewing. So we are just a minute or so away from this heat getting underway. And as you were looking at this is lane number 1. That's Marcus Ericsson in lane number 1. Again, we talk about the aggressive start on this workout and seeing like that efficient movement there. He looks like this is not even registering on his radar for weight. As you mentioned, this weight is nothing now.
Yeah, this is just the weight you keep moving. They've got 30 clean and jerks at 62.5 or 135, 30 ring muscle ups, and then finishing with 30 snatches. It's a workout we've seen at the CrossFit Games. Really nice test. It rewards you for being a great CrossFitter, not necessarily a specialist on the barbell or a specialist on the rings. And it looks like we've already got a bunch of athletes already moving on to their second set of 10.
So actually in shot right now is Roman Felino, who won the running event this morning, or sorry, earlier this afternoon. He looked very strong. He won that event by 10 points. Now, he did say that he targeted the event number 1, the run, but he looks pretty strong right now in this heat, and he seems to be keeping up with the rest of the competitors on the floor.
Well, he's shown in being so good at running that he's got a great gas tank, really good capacity. The fact that this barbell is relatively light is going to mean that he can keep moving it and really use those lungs. And I think where he'll probably make his move will be on the barbell. So, contrary to that, Daniel Scoff's really fast there onto his third set of clean and jerks. So it's looking like in lane 3 they're leading.
This is Damian Martinez-Sato in lane number 8. I like his top knot.
You'd suit a top knot.
Thanks very much. I don't think I have quite enough hair to pull off the top knot, but one day maybe I can get a hair replacement and we'll go from there.
So lane 6 and lane 8 are our leaders.
So we've got John Colty in lane 6, and lane 8 is actually Damian Martinez with that great top knot. So the top knot is currently in the lead, and would be delighted to see if he can kind of continue to go through that. But it's interesting to see. There we go. Looks like lane 6, John Colty, is straight onto the ring muscle up. So again, we spoke in previous heats about the tactic and how many you try and do unbroken. We've seen blocks of 3, blocks of 5. It seems to be that's around the mark that most athletes are going for.
Yeah, I think.
So on the left-hand side, you've got John Colty in lane number 6, and then on the right-hand side, it's Damian Martinez-Sato in lane 8. Both of them have looked pretty strong in the first set. John Colty looks a little bit, let's say, perturbed, bothered. Is that tiredness? What do you think is going through his mind right now?
He may have got his pacing slightly off. That was very fast through that first set of clean and jerks. And you notice he's almost straight arming the muscle ups. There's no dip there. As he starts to fatigue, he's going to catch lower and lower and lower. So John Colty on the left of your screen. That straight arm kips, looking at about 4 to 5 reps.
So it looks like Damian Martinez-Sartorres is really going for this. He's gone for sets of 5 so far. He's just taking that breather. John Colty looks like he's got himself on pace again, but even though he does look somewhat pained, he doesn't look comfortable going up there at the moment.
No, and I know these are the athletes we're focusing on, but I want to just give a shout out to Daniel Skov. I think he was 3rd onto the rings, but based off of another angle, his sets of muscle ups are looking great. In lane number 3. So I think it's going to be between lane 3, lane 7.
See what these athletes can do. So let's get down to the floor and hopefully we can get a nice angle here. It looks like we're going to come and have a look at lane number 3. Here he is Daniel Skov. You called him on the technique. Tell us why that technique is so much better than some of the other techniques you've seen so far.
You'll notice as he brings his feet through, he's got a nice hip pop, but the knees are staying relatively close together. And then as he dips out, it's a real solid position before then he drops down. So he's not going to waste any energy on no reps.
How disheartening is when a no rep is called? Is that one of the hardest things to take?
Especially on this movement, every rep is you're really working hard for it.
So we're just coming up to just over 4.5 minutes onto this workout. So remember, it's a 12-minute time cap. It's 30 clean and jerks, 30 ring muscle ups, 30 snatches. Those bars are weighted at 62.5 kgs, and they have a 12-minute time cap. It's not a lot of time, and it's a big, strong, lung-bursting, heart-burning workout.
Yeah, and Daniel just looked at his judge there and asked her how many reps left. So it looks like he's on his 24th rep, 6 reps remaining for Daniel.
There we go. So five to
air.
go. So we've got 5 to go for Daniel Skov here in lane number 3. We're just casting our eye down further across the workout floor, and it does look like Daniel is the man at the moment. No other judges' hands in the air just yet, so it looks like Daniel has got a decent lead on this. And actually in lane number 1, we've got Marcus Eriksson's judge has got that precious hand in the air. Fellow, apologies, that's Fellow in lane number 2, who has got the hand in the air. So we were talking about his gymnastic ability, but there's Daniel Skov. He's the first off the ring muscle ups as we go into his 30 snatches. So let's see how comfortable he looks coming off those rings after that burning session.
Solid. So Falano's got the gas tank. He's shown that in the run. Is it going to be? It's going to be between Skov and Falano.
So there is Falano.
And a quick change of the grips there by Skov. But it looks like the cadence of Skov is slightly ahead of Falano. Falano being that slightly leaner, svelte athlete, you know, he can move well on the run. It always helps to be leaner and lighter. But he's not going to move as well on the barbell. But it's still Daniel leading. Got Daniel in lane 3.
That's James McLaughlin, lane 7. So over there in lane number 1, Marcus Eriksson looks like he's had a big debate with his coach. Well, not with the coach, sorry, apologies. It's actually with his judge. But he's now on to his snatches. Here in lane number 3, we've got Daniel Skov continuing to make good impression in this workout. He's just had cast to look across the floor, see where he sits in comparison to the other athletes, seeing if there's any judges who have got their hands in the air. Nothing yet, but he's moving up, looking consistent, looking strong. And there's Fellow again moving up. So Fellow is putting himself in the mix, and a bit of a surprise package so far this weekend.
Doing very well indeed. I mean, I think it's going to come down to these last set of 10. How hard can you hold on, shall we say? Because with these workouts, the first few reps always feel relatively smooth, and then it's about when that lactic starts to settle in.
Just looking at Daniel Skov there as he's going up through his snatches, his feet are getting a little bit wider. Is that a sign of fatigue as you're trying to get that bar above your head?
Yeah, now it becomes how fast can I get the barbell over my head? And you kind of slightly forget technique when you're racing. Obviously, we want to be as efficient as possible, but when the barbell is of such a load that you can just grip and rip, you're not going to worry too much about your foot placement.
So Daniel Skov is still the man to beat in heat number 2. Remember that the winner, Joshua Jones, in heat number 1 came through in just over 10.5 minutes. So that's, again, unofficial. We'll get those official scores coming through as soon as we have them. So we'll start to give you some comparisons as to how well these athletes are doing. But it looks like Daniel Skov is going to be possibly the man to make this mark. He's on his within his final 5 reps. Looks like he's got 4 left to go. So Daniel is absolutely the man to beat. Just coming up to 9 minutes on the clock. So he's going to be, and Fellow again, there we are. So Daniel Skov is going to take the heat win in 9:07 unofficially. That's a fantastic effort from him. You called him looking good on those his ring muscle ups. You called him early. Again, looks like he's going to be making a move in this workout.
Yeah, so Daniel Skov's definitely going to be making his way up the leaderboard, but we've got Falano looking like he's going to take 2 in the heat. So he's won event number 1, and it's looking like he's going to be second in this event 2.
And Marcus Ericsson in lane 1 has really blitzed his way through these snatches because he's nearly caught up. But there's Falano taking second place in this heat in 9:49. That's quicker than heat number 1. So Falano looks like he's got the combination of everything. There's a lot of hands going up. There we go in lane number 4, I think that is. That's Mats Olsson or Matsi Heinz, apologies. And there's Marcus Ericsson in lane number 1. So he really fought back strongly. So it looks like all the athletes, maybe not don't speak too soon, but looks like all these athletes will break the time cap in this heat. That's James McLaughlin in lane number 7. He's got just under 5 reps to go. Lane 6 is John Colty, who was the first man onto the ring muscle-ups. He's really slowed down, and maybe that tactical error, James McLaughlin getting across the line, that tactical error from John may have hurt him in this heat.
Yeah, I think perhaps he knew he was going to struggle with the muscle-ups and wanted to get there quickly, but it was... Now he should be running. Every point, every second counts. Oh, and there's a sprint finish.
There we go. So there's Logan Ewing crossing the line in lane number 9. So that is all of the athletes have finished that heat. So nobody beaten by the time cap. So that heat was quicker than heat number 1. So it's going to be very interesting now to see the overall times and the impact of placements on the back end of that heat. So just a quick summary from you, Ben, on that. It looks like what an effort from Falano, but also Daniel Skov. He was 11th in the run this morning. He would have closed the gap on some athletes, but that's a terrific effort by Mr. Falano from France.
Yeah, really impressive. I thought he might struggle on the barbell. I kind of had a feeling ring muscle-ups were going to be his forte, but fair play to him for holding on there and pushing Daniel so well.
And it's interesting that Falano is independent. He's not associated to any affiliate in France, and that he obviously has maybe a bit of a, he likes to maybe train alone and sort of work in that way and is working in that independent space. So that might sort of explain why not many people may have heard of him or sort of seen where he's come from. But he has certainly shown his ability so far in events 1 and 2.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it still is early days. You know, they've got another few heats to come. But yeah, very well done by him. And also Daniel looking great there on those snatches. Lovely bar path representing Team JST.
I did notice that t-shirt.
Daniel Skov.
So it looks like Daniel Skov, our event winner. He was a phenomenal effort. We got to give him major kudos from that. He looked smooth all the way through, very content, very happy with what he was doing. And you can see what it means to him there on the slow-mo. Just to get that win, that heat win, getting any form of win in any competition is a great feeling. And it must mean a lot to him for what it is. So, and actually, Lauren's got Daniel now. So, Lauren, it's over to you.
Yes, Daniel is with me. Daniel, unofficially a 9:07, setting the time to beat before the big dogs take to the floor. Are you happy with that performance?
Yeah, I'm quite happy. It was a little bit more difficult than in training, but the time was way better, and I had more power to push it to the end. Had a game plan, kept on it, but then changed it in the end because just have to hold on.
Where did you feel you made up the most time in comparison to the rest of the field?
Definitely the ring muscle-ups. Not a big fan of barbells, not even the light ones like this, but ring muscle-ups and just gymnastic is definitely worth it for me. I like it.
How did you choose to break them?
I did 5s in the beginning, then changed it to 4s, and then towards the end I did 3, and then a set of 2 just to be fresh for the snatches because I knew they were coming.
There was a nice little race towards the end between you and Romain Falano. Were you aware of how close to you he was, and did that spur you on towards the end?
Yeah, I could kind of keep track of the guys next to me, but otherwise I'm just focusing on myself. And like it's a big field, so it's difficult to keep track of everyone. So better just to focus on yourself and stick to your game plan.
Well, that is a common T-shirt that you'll see around the UK. I know that you're currently being coached by Jack Cornthwaite, a Games athlete himself. What have you learned from him in the last 9 months?
inches. JST will love this, but inches. Giving it all in, get it all in, just keep on pushing and keep on pushing. And Jack have taught me to do different paces, know myself better, like what can I do in 5 minutes, and then stick to these kind of paces all the way through.
And you felt under his guidance you've improved as an athlete?
Yeah, definitely. Jack is a super good guy, and he's a really good coach. And it's nice to have a coach that also like cares about you and like, takes you into consideration and stuff. So it's really, really been helpful.
Well, congratulations. It was great to watch you, and you've definitely set a time to beat.
Thank you very much.
Well, terrific effort there from Daniel Skov. Ben, he's just talking there about how Jack Cornthwaite, his coach at JST, is helping him to gain those inches, those little differences. We spoke about that a lot earlier today, and how those little marginal gains can make massive gains overall. And it's interesting to hear him saying that.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the setup which they've created at JST is really starting to kind of make these athletes consider everything outside of what they're doing on the competition floor. You know, are they sleeping well? Is their nutrition on point? Are they hydrated? Are they recovering well? Are they looking after their hands? All these different things add up to one massive gain. And I think, you know, Daniel there, he's just shown that by doing those little things really well, you perform incredibly well.
And with somebody like Daniel, would he, from maybe what you understand of your association to JST as well, would somebody like Daniel be training in a full-time environment? Would he be dedicated to this, or is he kind of looking at this as, right, I'm going to do the best I can, but I've got to do a day job too? How would you associate or approach it from his sort of standpoint?
Yeah, I think he's going to be looking at this as, you know, I'm a young guy, I'm going to throw everything into this whilst I can and make out of it what I can. And I know a few weeks ago they had a great training camp over in Denmark, and I'm sure he took a lot away from that. And just surrounding yourselves constantly with those people that are going to push you. In reality, you don't really want to be the best in your gym. You want everyone else to be better than you, and you're constantly chasing them. So I think it was probably nice for him to have Stephen over there, Jack over there, really pushing him.
And I imagine that JST environment, and hopefully we'll hear from some of the guys, hopefully Steve Fawcett over the weekend, that environment that's been created by JST is an elite sporting environment, right? What they've done there has really set the bar for CrossFit and training in this country.
Yeah, and they're really trying to push the boundaries and almost professionalize the sport that we love so much.
So interestingly, we've got the results of heat number 2 coming up on the screen there. So Daniel Skov was the heat winner in 9:07, followed by Felino in 9:48. So 2 excellent times. Maxi Hens in lane 5, he pulled in the 3rd place. So cracking effort from there, and there's not too much between the rest of them when you see how fast Daniel Skov went in that heat.
Yeah, amazing. Really, really, really impressive, those top 3, and then you start to see it sort of drip down, don't you? And the skill level, perhaps, or was it the barbell, was it the ring muscle ups that trip people up? I think this next heat we see, although Daniel has put in an amazing performance, I think he's still going to be up there. But these boys coming now are our top seed, and I think we're going to see definitely some sub 9 minutes.
Well, we might see some fireworks in this next heat, because we know that there's some big names coming through, and this is heat number 3. We've still got heat 4 to come. Apologies, folks, there's still another heat to come from the men after this one. But we'll take you through the lane order for heat number 3, event number 2, the standard. So in lane number 1 from the USA, we've got Eric Evans, another USA competitor, Scott Cottrell, from the States, Carl Bernier, from from Denmark, apologies, get my flags right, that's a bit wrong to get that wrong. It's Andre Hude. From Greece, it's Alex Katoulas. From Australia, it's Evan Morris. From Norway, it's Nikolai Mulledel. From Iceland, it's Haraldur Holgersson. And from the US, it's Austin Bolin. So big presence from the US in this heat. What are your thoughts on some of those athletes you see on there? We spoke a lot about Andre Hude earlier, but there's some big names coming through in this heat.
Well, we've got 2 of our lightest athletes from the field in this heat. We've got Haraldur Holgersson from Iceland weighing in at 79 kilos, and also Alex Katoulas from Greece at 78. I think they're probably going to blitz through these ring muscle ups. But as we've seen, does that mean they're going to have the minerals, shall we say, on the barbell? I think it does come down to how well you do at the muscle-ups, but we'll see how they manage to cope with that barbell.
Okay, so we're not too far away from heat number 3 of event number 2 taking place in the elite male competition. Just a reminder of the workout for those if you're only just joining us at home, wherever you're watching, even in the arena. It's 30 clean and jerks at 62.5 kgs, followed by 30 ring muscle-ups, followed by 30 snatches, again at 62.5 kilograms, and there's a 12-minute time cap. So you're looking at the camera, that's Eric Evans, closest to the camera in lane number 1. He's got Scott Cottrell inside him and Carl Bernier inside him again, but we'll keep an eye on the floor, and away we go. So this is Eric Evans. We're just going to keep an eye on him at the start, see the type of move he's making.
And I'm going to call this heat, I'm going to say it's going to be Andre Ude.
Big call.
From Denmark.
Big call. So Andre Ude is the man for Ben in this heat. We see how he gets on and see how he works his way through the workout overall.
There's cool, calm and collected through this first set. We don't want to get our heart rate up too high. But Andre onto his second set of 10. Nice breathing. He's got a lovely overhead position. Just needs to be careful of that barbell jumping around, make sure he stays in his lane. But you notice how there he just grabbed the bar, he wasn't banging the center, he's not worrying too much how perfect the reps look. As long as it goes from ground to shoulder to overhead, it's going to be counted. Minimal effort, little step each time, grab, grab, go. Lovely technique by Andre. And then I imagine he's just taking the edge off ever so slightly so that when he gets on the muscle-ups, he can get straight to it.
Tell us a little bit more about what you know about Andre Ude and where he's been coming from over the last 12 months or so, and his competitive approach over the last 12 months.
So he did phenomenally well. He's from Denmark. He's often competing against Frederick Agidius, so you know quite often that place is sealed up. But I think Andre actually took it this year, so he's leading there, and he's based out of Dubai, working down there, doing really, really great things. And you know, he's been on the circuit for the last, well, I met him 5 years ago on a weightlifting camp, and he's always been able to lift a serious amount of tin.
So that's Alex Catoulas is actually going to be the first athlete getting onto the ring muscle up. So great work from Alex there in lane number 5. He's been followed in by lane number 3. That's Carl Bernier.
But Andre is first to the muscle-ups.
There we go. So Alex took a couple of breaths there, but Andre took advantage of that little rest.
And look at Andre's body position. A lovely long kip, pop of the hips, and then through, like that pendulum motion. Great set from Andre.
Is there anything Danish athletes are doing better than, it seems like obviously we're looking at Daniel Skov in the previous heat, another Danish athlete. Obviously Scandinavia is a hotbed, as a talent pool of CrossFitters. Is there anything they do differently in Denmark in terms of technique, just the approach? Is it that Viking blood that sets them apart?
I think it's actually, as a sport, it's probably been there for the longest. You know, we had the regionals there in Copenhagen for several years, and I think perhaps that whole vibe filtered out into all the gyms there. So they're really kind of producing some brilliant athletes, and you know what they do there and how they work. There's quite a tight community there, and I think that really pushes the levels up. Same as in Britain, we all kind of know each other and we're all pushing and trying to get better and better and better.
Is there, obviously with Daniel Skov, we spoke about JST and the gap between the two heats. With JST, is there a similar program in Denmark? Is there a group that will be driving performance in that respect?
So JST is actually very prevalent in Denmark.
There we go.
So that's probably why.
So as the Brits are driving the Danish performance.
I wouldn't want to say that, but yeah, they've definitely got a big influence on how people are approaching competing now.
Well, it's interesting to see that Alex Catoulis there in shot, and also Andre Ude in shot as well. That they're both taking a little bit of an extended break in between these sets, obviously conserving energy to try and go for this and really make that mark to try and take this heat win. As we remember from the previous heat, 9:07 from Daniel Skov was the winning time. So we're closing in on just coming up to halfway to that mark. There's still a lot of work for these guys to do. And you can see in the lane next to Andre, Carl Bernier there was literally willing his legs and that muscle up to hit that muscle up. So he's maybe in that fatigue territory with this workout.
You can actually see all the athletes now are really starting to struggle with the dip. So they're really kipping, using their legs to lock out their triceps. And that'll be from the clean and jerks that is really fatigued before they've gone on to the muscle ups. But we've got a hand in the air for Alex Catoulis.
And hand in the air for Ude too. So.
And this is really now they need to be really strict on their rests. When you think, oh, I'm going to take 5 seconds, it's often 10 seconds or 15 seconds. And we talked about inches from Daniel Skov. Every second is one of those inches, and you need to really push it.
And there's Catoulis moving on to those snatches, so he's first off. Is there a temptation when you're competing with an athlete next to you, you see the judge's hand go up, you see your hand go up, is there that temptation to overexert as you try and get off the ring muscle ups first, or any movement first? Is there a temptation to push it too far and then you fatigue yourself too much going into the final phase of the workout?
Definitely, I think you can push yourself too soon. But also I think, you know, you need to really be strict and know your game plan. And it looks like Andre now, he may have been a little bit slower off the barbell, but now he's back to his fast cycle speed. Sorry, a bit slow off the ring muscle ups, but now he's back to his fast cycle speed when he's on the barbell. It looks like he's going about 1.5 reps to Alex's cadence.
I was going to say, he looks like he's marginally quicker. And actually, Carl Bernier, who we were talking about almost willing his legs up when he was doing his ring muscle up, has made massive gains to put himself into contention in this heat.
Yeah, and it's really going to be how hard are you willing to push on this. So Andre joined Alex about 3 reps behind, and now they're rep for rep. Can he keep that pace?
So we are set potentially for another dramatic finish. Closing in on 7 minutes here. We were talking about what that time is to beat. It's 9:07 currently, so they've got 2 minutes to do this. I'm going to suggest that time will be beaten in this heat based on where they are in this heat right now.
Yeah, I'd expect to see a sub-9 for sure. Where that will be, who knows? But it's looking like we've got at least 3 or 4 athletes all into their 10 to 20 rep mark. You see on the boxes on the floor, they all need to advance. So that's our kind of marker to see where they are currently.
And that's helpful for the guys in the arena as well, isn't it? For the fans who are here trying to see the progress of these athletes as they move through the workout.
So Andre on his final set of 10, it's looking like. Andre Ude, final set of 10. But also lane 3 looks to be pushing hard. Kyle Bernier looks like he's about to move, and Alex has moved forward as well. So there's really are rep for rep. Final 5 for Andre.
Going to need, I think there might be a photo finish for this. But there we go. So Andre's into his final 5 reps. So we've got Alex is not quite
3
there
remaining.
Yet, but Andre's got 3 reps remaining. We're looking at the time, 8:15, 2 reps remaining.
Look at the grimace in his face. Come on, Andre.
This is going to be close to our previous week winner.
Oh, failed, no rep.
That could be massive. Daniel Skov still has another no rep.
Come on, Andre. And this is it. This barbell is so light that you don't consider it. And then you start failing it. You'd never normally. Well done. Go, Andre, go.
That's the final rep. That's 8:47. 48.
So 8:48 for Andre. And you just see there the effort that put in. I've seen him snatch 127 kilos. This is less than 50%, and he failed it twice.
So just in that same moment, Alex Catoulis also crossed the line. So he's over the line, and he's followed Andre Uday across the line. It looks like Carl Bernier in lane 3 is potentially next across the line. Just trying to look down the floor to see if anybody else has crossed the line. It looks like
we've got 4 athletes in the floor.
Yeah, we've got 4 on the floor. There's Alex Katoulis. Fantastic effort from him. Mightily competitive. There's Carl Bernier crossing the line. Final 5 reps for 2 of the guys in the centre of the floor.
Lane 7 and lane 9, it's looking like.
Lane 2, Scott Cottrell is the one who is unfortunately trailing this heat at the moment. We've got Eric Evans there in lane 1. He's got 5 reps. There we go. It looks like Nikolai Biladel.
Come on, Eric. Strict on that rest. Here we go. So you really see that fatigue setting now. He's got a rounded lower back. He's just willing that bar up over his head. So lanes 7 and 9 have finished.
They have, so that is Nikolai Biladel and Austin Bolden, and there's Eric Evans crossing the line in lane number 1. Congratulations to him. That's 10:24, still a more than respectable time in this workout. And it's now just on Scott Cottrell. He's got just under 90 seconds of the time cap left. It'll be interesting to see if he can break that time cap. He's taking his time. He knows he's got that time to play with.
So Scott Cottrell from United States CrossFit Grandview, age 27.
Finished 123rd in the Open, so that's a great effort to be finishing in the top 123 people in the world when it comes to the Open. So he is no mug, and this may be that movement is not his type of thing, but other workouts later in the weekend may well suit this guy more than this one.
And nice how Eric's finished the workout and has come over, willing him on to finish. That grimace in his face.
And there we go. Congratulations, Scott Cottrell will cross the line under the time cap. Well done to him. Great effort. Great to see Eric Evans cheering him over on the line. It's what this sort of sport is all about, that support from other athletes. Nobody leaves anybody out there. Yes, they might be competing against each other, but they are there to support them to get these workouts done.
Amazing workout. That was really exciting, especially Andre at the end there. Incredible.
Well done to Andre Uday. He's a terrific effort from him. Unofficially, he is our new event leader. 8:48 unofficially. It looks like Alex Katoulis may have been under that 9-minute mark as well. So it'll be interesting to see how that compares to Daniel Scobb's time from heat number 2 to see where that pitches those guys in for the mix.
Alex moving there on the clean and jerks, nice and smooth, and Andre in the background. Lovely muscle ups from Andre throughout. He's a taller athlete, around the 6-foot mark, so he has to be so technically proficient when he's performing any gymnastic movement, really showing us how it's done. And a great finish after failing 2 reps at 60 kilos.
That must have been hurting when he was hearing no rep, but as he's trying to get them done. He's got to go. It's 12 reps basically in that last section, or 32 reps in the last section.
Yeah.
So, terrific effort by him, and I'm hoping that we might be able to hear from him later on. But actually, he is actually with Lauren. So Lauren, over to you to have a chat with Daniel. Andre even.
Yeah, he is with me. Andre, it was a bit of a foot race between you and the competitor to your right. He came off the rings first, then you managed to overtake him on the snatch. How did that drive you to the finish line?
My coach told me before, when you get to the snatches, that's where the workout is won or lost. When you get there, just close your eyes and go, and that's what I try to do. Even if I fail the last few reps, I just went for it, and I think competition is about taking risk and not always playing it safe, and I took a risk here, and I'm happy.
you've already qualified via Pandaland as part of a team. So what's this competition for you? Are you looking to qualify individually, or is it just about getting a bit of experience?
My dream has always been to qualify individually, and it continues to be. I helped Team Butcher's Lab qualify for the games as I train in their gym, but my main objective remains to try to qualify individually, and if that doesn't go, then I'll go team, and that's of course super nice. It's a great team, great people.
I know that family drives a lot about what you do and how you perform as an athlete. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, like my brother died in an accident 4 years back, and that he was my biggest supporter in CrossFit, and I always promised him that, you know, I want to be one of the best, and he always believed in me, and I kind of made him that promise. So every day I work hard and try to make that happen. Also, my sister, she's born with SMA, which is muscular dystrophy, so she's in a wheelchair. So that's how I got into fitness, because she always needed my help, and I was the closest brother. She's physically limited, but not mentally. So, I mean, I just want to be a role model for her and for the rest of my family to work hard and be, you know, the person you want to be and live your best life, because life is short.
How proud would she be of that performance?
She would be pretty proud, I hope. She would probably say, "Why do you fail the last few snatches? We need to work on those."
Thank you, Andre. I'll let you get off, but lovely speaking to you.
Okay, thanks so much.
Wow, that's quite a heart-moving sort of story there, really, isn't it? Just to hear how much he does this for his family, the loss of his brother, his sister as well, as he said, being physically challenged, the fact that he takes pride in working out and looking to qualify for the games as an individual athlete. There's so much driving that athlete and so much driving Andre, but there's obviously other stories as well. But that's an incredible insight into what motivates him in the world of CrossFit.
Yeah, I think, you know, there are often external factors that really help you push and get that extra point, or, you know, extra rep. And that was a really nice story from Andre. A bit emotional for me. Yeah, lovely.
I was thinking the same thing. I can appreciate what it's like to lose someone close, and it's amazing how motivation sort of blossoms from such sadness. And obviously that's the case for Andre in that, and it'll be fascinating to see how he does over the rest of the weekend. Obviously he was second, as we talked about, in Denmark. He had a fantastic showing in the Open, second in Denmark, so frustratingly close to an individual place. He's there as part of a team, as we mentioned, with Butcher's Lab. In terms of what can he do now over this weekend to give himself that best chance of potentially securing that coveted slot?
I think for Andre, as he said, in competition it's about taking a risk, it's about getting out of your comfort zone, and you know, he's aware that he needs to execute, but he's such an intelligent athlete that everything he does he'll be learning and taking those lessons, if he doesn't qualify, onto the next sanctional, onto the next competition. So I think, you know, either way it's a win-win. He's got to the games as a team, and this is like a bonus for him.
Absolutely, and it's great to see that for him, and to see what he can hopefully do coming into the last couple of days. But he knows he's going to the game as part of a team, which is terrific. And actually, here we go. This is the heat that probably everybody's looking for. We've got four-time CrossFit Games champion in there, Matt Fraser. There'll be a lot of people looking forward to seeing how he does in this. I know we are, but there's an awful lot of very talented athletes in this. Dave Sharunki, who we called out earlier. Zach George, he won the UK qualification, so he is our guy going to the games. We've got big lineup, so we'll take you through the lane order. So in lane 1 from Ireland, we've got Sam Stewart. In lane 2, Zach George, we just mentioned him. In lane 3, Eleftherios Stefanadis. Matt Fraser's there in lane 4. Defending champion Branislav Olegovich in lane 5. Lucas Högberg in lane 6. Georgios Karavis in lane 7. Dave Sharunki in lane 8. And then in lane 9, another guy who we haven't mentioned much about is Will Murad. We know he's been to the games. He's been there or thereabouts. He is, again, another terrific athlete. So this is This is a pretty stacked field.
And it's a stacked field of athletes that haven't got their spot yet. So the race or the competition is on. Very, very exciting to watch how this unfolds.
Okay, so we are heading down to the floor. This is the last heat of the men's competition here on Friday, the first day of CrossFit Strength in Depth here at the Excel Arena in London. It's going to be fascinating to see the approach. We can just see Matt Fraser there in the background behind Zach George, just getting those final prep thoughts through his head. What are we expecting from Matt on this? What do we think he's going to achieve?
Fireworks.
8 minutes, 8.5?
He'll be wanting to beat his time from the games.
Okay.
That will be his goal.
Let's see if he can do that. The guys are on the start line. The hooter is about to sign. There we go. So they're off. This is it. Final heat of the day. So final effort for these guys to put in the work. Let's see how quickly they go. Matt Fraser is flying.
Matt Fraser's cycle speed is just rhythmic. He waits for it to stop bouncing, he picks it up. Waits for it to stop bouncing, picks it up. Very, very nice by Matt Fraser. Zach George in the foreground are also moving nicely, but I think it's got to be Fraser's to lose, really.
In terms of Zach George and his growth over the last year as an athlete, because he was here last year. He had a bit of a struggle on the second day, the last day of the comp last year, but there was a lot spoken about him and his potential. He's obviously started to show that more and more. Do you think he's a real option for the UK to potentially provide somebody who could finish in the top 10, top 20 when it comes to the games itself?
I think he's very, very skilled athlete. He moved really well and he's shown his ability throughout the Open and previous competitions that he deserves to be there.
So we're just looking at Lucas Högberg here in lane number 6. So let's see how he's doing. So he's moving on. Lane 7, Georgios Karavis has also moved that bar up. We should also point out that in actually lane 3, Eleftherios Stefanadis is not starting in this heat, so there is no Thanadis in heat number 4. So we'll try and provide an update on that. But for now, it's more important to focus on the athletes in this event. And there's Matt Fraser giving a look to his judge. Looks very comfortable. Final 5 reps then of these clean and jerks at 62.5 kilograms. 2 minutes onto the clock.
2 left remain, it looks like.
Yeah. That's a pretty fast start.
So a 2-minute grace. Oh, not quite finished, sorry. So he's going to be looking like a 2:15 grace.
So there we go.
Going
so
to 30 muscle ups.
Matt Fraser, though, interestingly, is not the first man onto the ring muscle ups. Lucas Högberg in lane 6 is the man there. And actually, the man just outside him is Georgios Karavis, is also onto the ring muscle ups before Matt Fraser. We spoke before, it's not all about the Matt Fraser show. It's not that. There's a lot of athletes here who are wanting to compete in this year's event.
So that was 4 reps by Lucas Högberg. And I'll be interested to see how many Matt cranks out. It looks like he's already hit a set of 6 or 7.
So there's Branislav Olegovich next to Matt Fraser in lane number 5. Branislav had a tough first workout today. He unfortunately was the guy who brought up the field and he finished in last place in the run. He was kind of walking it towards the end. I think he knew that that necessarily wasn't going to be his strongest event of this weekend.
Look at the size of him. He doesn't want to be shifting his tin down the runway, but I think here he's going to show his prowess when he gets back onto that barbell. We saw him do 30 clean and jerks at 65 kilos unbroken last year after a 60 kilo bike. So we know when he starts snatching, that barbell is going to shift. It wouldn't surprise me if he does it in 3 unbroken sets of 10.
Well, you've got to remember, he came from nowhere last year, winning 2 events back-to-back, which put him into that position to take the win. So we know he's capable of fireworks. You talked about Matt Fraser fireworks. We're coming up to 4 minutes. We've kind of got that 8-minute mark in our heads as potentially being that mark. Georgios Karavis there in lane 6 is looking strong. No, sorry, lane 7. Lucas Högberg here as well, next to him. very nice of them to actually do their ring muscle-ups next to each other, which there's normally a little gap to allow for the space, but they're doing a great job for us to help us on our coverage here.
And I'm wondering whose hand we're going to see first, because when we do see them, it's going to be seriously impressive.
There's Will Murad.
Very lovely muscle-ups. And Matt Fraser's hand is in the air, we're hearing through our ears. So Matt Fraser
I can't wait to see these last snatches to see how quickly he's going to do this. Is he going to go for unbroken?
I don't think he'll go for unbroken.
But 3 sets of 10, boom, gone.
I think he'll probably go fast singles. I may be wrong, but based on the pace at which he's done his muscle-ups.
Here we go. Here we go. So that's Matt Fraser moving on to his bar for 30 snatches. He is the man in the lead now. He's overtaken Lucas Högberg in lane 6 and Georgios Karavis in lane 7. And here we go. So remember, the leading time from this set of events, a set of heats in event 2 is 8:48 from our friend Andre Ude. So Andre Ude is currently the event leader. Be interested to see now how Matt Fraser done. He's taking a look. He's had enough of the shirt. Off it goes. Now time. You can hear the crowd going wild at that.
So it looks like Matt's got a 35-second lead on his closest rival.
Which
looking
is
over his shoulder.
Georgios Karavis. Lucas Högberg is off his ring muscle up. So it's Georgios Karavis, Matt Fraser. So Georgios Karavis and Lucas Högberg were the first people onto the ring muscle ups. But Matt Fraser has motored through those exceptionally quickly. He's onto his 30 snatches.
Also lane 1 has just joined them, Sam Stewart. So Sam Stewart.
Here's Matt Fraser. He's rolled the bar further forward than anybody else. So he is our current leader in this heat. 6:13 on the clock. It's fascinating to see where this might fall out, but Branislav Olegovich is still on his ring muscle-ups. Do you think he feels the pressure of having Matt Fraser outside him?
I'm not sure Bron is an athlete that considers other athletes. I think he's very good at internalising and focusing on what he needs to do.
Well, to be fair, it's only 6:40 on the clock. He's only got 5 reps to go, and we know how quickly he can cycle through a bar. He's not going to catch up with Matt Fraser, but he may still be able to make some inroads on the wider field in this workout.
So Matt Fraser's on his final set of 10.
And he's got, so we got 7 minutes on the clock. Can he do this? Can he break the 8-minute mark that Ben predicted he might come in around?
But Bron in the background going touch and go.
Here we go. There's Bron. Here's the length of it. We love how quickly he moves this bar. My God, this man works quickly when it has a bar in his hands. And here's Matt Fraser casting an eye across the field. Final 5 reps. So we have got 5 reps to go with under 7.5 minutes gone on the clock. Branislav Olegovich has already moved on to his next set of 10.
He's just done an unbroken set of 10.
This is insane. So Olegovich, after maybe ruling him out a little bit, is in the mix. Matt Fraser's got less than 5 reps to go. So let's see if he can break this 8-minute mark, because this is certainly a statement of intent. Final rep, I believe. Final rep he is on. Here we go. There is Matt Fraser. And he's walking over the line in under 8 minutes. That's 7:53. Look at that for a statement of intent here in London from Matt Fraser. That is what 4-time CrossFit Games champion can do. That is a phenomenal effort. And here goes Georgios Karavis. Is he going to be able to claim second place in this heat? We've got Lucas Högberg has got less than 5.
It's going to be a foot race between Lucas.
It's going to be a proper race. Olegovich has moved up. Olegovich has got 10 reps left. And there's Georgios Karavis. Karavis is going to take second place in 8:21. So that takes out Andre Ude's time. Can anybody else get under that? We've got Lucas Högberg is surely close. Olegovich, Högberg is going to beat that time.
Will
Murad is also in behind Högberg. So Ude, so this is amazing. 8:48. Can Olegovich break that 8:48? Olegovich looks like he's slowed down a little bit. There we go in lane number 1. Sam Stewart from Ireland has beaten that time. This is insane. Olegovich is going for it. He has really worked hard to fight back. There's Zach George.
David Sharonki
breaking 9 minutes. David Sharonki over there in lane number 8. has also been mixing it up with the best. So there's Sharonki trying to make the mark. Actually, looks like Sharonki was moved to lane 9 and Will Murad was lane 8. So there's Sharonki going in 9:13. So still excellent times here. So Sharonki is just marginally behind Daniel Skov's time of 9:07. So we've seen some phenomenal efforts. We did think that workout was going to be a quick one, and it proved to be a quick one.
Wowee, that was amazing. All those athletes coming in like dominoes, bing, bing, bing. But Matt Fraser, what an unbelievable job.
And we can see Lauren is making a move on Matt Fraser to have a chat with him. Lauren looks excited about potentially having a chat with the man. So let's see if we can have a conversation with him. But what a phenomenal effort though from him. That was truly world class.
And that is how you do that workout. Matt Fraser has just shown us how to do that workout. Unbelievable. To go faster than 12 seconds compared to what he did at the games, amazing.
Do you think that's the benefit of doing this workout early compared to the last workout of the games? Do you think that might be the difference in that?
Definitely. I think, you know, the fact that it's only workout number 2 is going to make a huge difference. But his amount of capacity, I don't know whether it will make that much.
And great news, actually, Lauren is down on the floor with that man, Matt Fraser.
Him down. Matt, that was faster than your games performance in the standard. Obviously, it's a little bit earlier in the competition. But did you feel that maybe that was yours to lose?
You know, I was expecting it to be a bit faster, you know, feel a little fresher than at the games. You know, that was a brutal week. But, you know, I definitely took my experience from then. I learned a couple lessons during the event, so I tried to apply it here.
We haven't actually seen you on a competition stage since the games. Have you been enjoying your time away? What have you been up to?
Oh, you know, I usually try to pack up and live in the woods. No cell phone, internet for a couple months. So just some quality time with family. But Gia and I are both back in Cookville now, training full time. So ready to hit the season hard.
How did it feel getting back out there?
You know, the nerves were there just like they used to be. And, you know, it's something I never wanted to go away. But it feels good to be back out here, and couldn't ask for a better crowd, you know. It's incredible how big this competition is.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure watching you in that event, and I'm sure everyone wants to congratulate you on a great performance.
Thank you.
Well, thanks Lauren and thanks Matt for that. Fascinating to hear Matt's take on that. Obviously, he's taken a bit of a break away from the sport, a little bit of escape away from the world of technology and social media as well. I think everybody needs to do that, but interesting to hear that the nerves are still there for an athlete of such quality.
Yeah, and I think, you know, if you don't have nerves, do you care? You've got to have nerves, because it actually sharpens the axe, sharpens the sword, and it probably makes you perform better. When you're in that nervous state, you're hyper-focused, and, you know, I think the fact that he still gets those nerves shows that he's hungry for it, and he really, really wants to win.
I think it showed how much he wanted to win just by getting the time that he did, knowing that he said he learnt from the experiences of doing that workout at the games. A repeat of that is such a, as we said, a great measure for so many of these athletes to sort of pitch themselves against so many other athletes in this event. So look, it's fascinating to see and hear him talk, and we can't wait to see more of him over the weekend. But special shout out to the guys who followed him, and we obviously had Georgios Karavis coming in as second place. What do we know about him compared to other athletes that we've seen? Obviously, there's another Greek that unfortunately wasn't able to make the start line, in Eleftherios Theonardis. So Georgios Karavis is obviously, we talk about being in the bubble, ready to be on the cusp of potentially qualifying for the games. These are huge opportunities for these athletes.
Massive, and they want to seize them with both hands and do as much as they can. Obviously, shame about Eleftherios not being in.
But Theophanadis, I think is how you say the name.
Theophanadis, sorry about the pronunciation. And this is our second best athlete from Greece. So, you know, the caliber is there. Also, huge well done to Lucas there. A larger athlete to move through the muscle-ups the way he did. Very, very impressive. I think that perhaps was a little bit of damage control. He did very well on the run. Let's see how he's going to adding those points together where he's going to place.
It's going to be fascinating to see how the run now after event number 1, the event 2 results, how they kind of provide the latest update in that running sequence of who's leading. Because actually we spoke about our first winner of the heat when we had Roman Felino. He won event number 1. He came second in his heat, but now when we start looking at the times of the heats following him, he's actually quite a long way down. Well, you sort of see that first heat and think, that was quick, but others have gone a lot quicker since.
Absolutely, and I think that's the depth of the field, you know. You can't be a specialist in one area and not in another area. So I think once we've got all the scores collated and they're all in, I think we're really going to see, you know, a lot of change on that leaderboard. I think when we see the females, we've got one more heat of females to come out, the top heat. Then we're going to get both the leaderboards, and I think you'll see there's a big jump up and down as we wrap up the day after this heat.
Well, we're going to, I think, hopefully see, we're going to see the sort of the overall sort of leaderboard for the men coming up shortly. We're just prepping for the final individual heat of today, which is the elite females heat number 3. So that's going to be another stacked order. It'll be interesting to see if the women go anywhere near as quick relatively in that final heat. But it's great to see. Look at that crowd, so full. This is Friday night. There's so many people going around the floor. It's just brilliant to see the atmosphere. And as Matt also said in his interview, he said it's so good to see so many people here.
Yeah, he said, wow, this is a massive competition. And, you know, this is a huge competition now. And that's just going to keep attracting these top-tier games athletes because they want to compete against the best. Why compete otherwise? You know, for reference, when we look at this next heat, Tia won this event in 8:25. So not that far off Matt's time, if we're totally honest. You know, Tia would have wiped the floor with pretty much every other man in the field, every other male in the field. So you know, we might have some pocket rockets who are going to show us how it's done in this women's heat as well.
We may well do, and it'll be interesting to see that actually Tia Claire is here in London this weekend. So maybe we can use this as an opportunity to dangle the carrot and bring her in for next year and say, come on. But we'll hopefully have a chat with her over the weekend if we can, because it'll be fascinating to get her take on the event, the experience, and what her take is on London and potentially competing here in the future. It would be great to hear from her on that, right?
Yeah, and I think, you know, the pool of athletes and the community is so small, and that's why we have these athletes here, because it travels very fast if a competition is great.
It's awesome. It's awesome to see somebody like that. So this is reverse order. So we have seen 2 athletes unfortunately have had to withdraw from the men's competition. So we're now down to a field of 35. But Evan Morris and Eleftherios Theophanadis are out of it. But we've just seen there that there's a couple of athletes who made a good effort in that. But Ram Dover was the only one to not break the cap. He came in at 12:04. And it's interesting to see who is sitting where on the back of that. Kind of a mix of heats 2 and 3. We're seeing that shift between the two. So these are the overall results from event number 2. So this isn't the overall standings. This is the results from the second event called the Standard. So we'll kind of have a look now at the top 20. And Branislav Olegovich, what an effort from him, actually, to see him come through. Dave Shrunky, do you think he'll be happy with that placement of taking position 13th? There's a joint 16th there with exactly the same time. But look at that for a top 10 and the timings for that. Everybody under 9 minutes 10. Phenomenal effort. Matt Fraser at 7:54. Sam Stewart, maybe special shout out for him in lane 5. He was in that top heat. 8:47, just pipping Andre Uday, who won heat number 2. Just thoughts on that?
Well, I think, you know, now we see the mix, the previous heats. We're seeing athletes from previous heats beating athletes in effectively higher seeded heats. And this is going to be the interesting shift in the points that we'll look at now.
So there's a fascinating top leaderboard for the male competition. We spoke about Lucas Hogberg having a great run and a very solid workout in event number 2. So Lucas is actually our current leader on 182 points. Matt Fraser in second, so he's fought back well. Roman Felino in fourth, so his win and excellent performance in event number 2. So we know that's a pretty damn good effort from all those athletes, but fascinating to see how that story will play out over the weekend. And finally, so this is the final heat. We'll work through this very quickly. In lane number 1, we've got Madison Maxon. Lane 2, Alison Scuds. Lane 3, Steph Chung. Lane 4, Camilla Salomonson. Lane 5, Laura Horvath. Lane 6, Hayley Adams. Lane 7, Gabriella Migler. Lane 8, Emily Lundberg. Lane 9, Taylor Howe. And lane 10, Sapphire Goddard. So this is our final individual event of today's action. It's been a fantastic first afternoon of activities here at the event. Can't wait for tomorrow already. Again, the rowing boats. Can't wait for the rowing boats. But for now, let's see who can make this final mark, who can get themselves up that leaderboard. So Madison Maxon is nearest to you on the camera. Alison Scuds just inside her. So let's see how this final women's heat works its way out on day number 1 of CrossFit Strength in Depth.
And, you know, I think Laura Horvath is going to fly through this first barbell. You can see her basically push-pressing the bar. But I wouldn't be surprised if Hayley Adams snuck the win on this event. She's the only athlete to have done this in competition before. She got a time of 10:40. Bear in mind that was after a full week of competition at the CrossFit Games. There's Steph Chung moving nicely in lane 3. Solomon Hellman in lane 4, very powerful athlete, and there's Horvath. I expect her to be first off the barbell.
Chris Henshaw, if he wasn't picking Hayley Adams, seems to be picking Laura Horvath as his potential favourite for the women's competition, based on the fact she's had a terrific year. Gabriella Migler as well in lane 7. This is a stacked women's field as well, as we've been talking about. There's a lot of terrific athletes. And here's Taylor Howe, your call for a podium position. Homegrown talent, another homegrown talent in Sapphire Goddard on lane number 10. So Brits represented strongly in lanes 9 and 10. How well suited is this workout to an athlete like Taylor with her strength coming into this?
Obviously, she's going to move very nicely on the barbell. And funny enough, she's very, very good at gymnastics. But it's going to be Laura Horvath first to the barbell. It looks like she's got 3 reps remaining of the clean and jerk. And I think Hayley Adams is pretty much rep for rep. So I think they're going to be pretty much neck and neck heading into those muscle ups. And then it's about who can maintain their form, who can chip through the reps. So Laura's first to the rings.
First to the rings.
And there goes Hayley. Will Hayley chalk up before she jumps up? So Laura Horvath is leading. Hopefully we can get a little bit of Laura, see how many reps she's done. I think that was 4 reps for Laura before she dropped down. Now Hayley Adams is hitting 2 reps. 3 reps off screen.
So Hayley Adams is looking strong. So that's 4.
4 reps for Hayley Adams.
5.
Big kip there, so we don't want to fatigue those shoulders. Once the shoulders go on the rings, it's really, really tricky to get it back. Laura looking a little bit sporadic on that kip. You notice how her legs are separating as she pops the hip, whereas Hayley's got nice knees together as she comes over the rings.
It may be worth clarifying the standards here in terms of where an athlete needs to get to. Is it full lockout at the top of the movement?
Full lockout of the triceps when they're on top of the rings.
There we go.
So you'll notice Hayley's being very deliberate in her kip to finish that movement, and you want to make it really obvious to your judge. If you get a no rep whilst you're doing your muscle ups, they cost so many seconds. Every rep you want to make sure counts. So that's Alison Scuds there. Oh, sorry, no, my bad. Camilla Solomon getting ready, and Steph Chung.
Steph Chung just inside her. So Just trying to see how many hands, if any, judges' hands are up at the moment.
Lovely reps by Hayley Adams and Laura Horvath. And that backswing from Horvath is just so strong. Brilliant shapes. Looking at that tension, that nice bow-like shape to then use all that power and get up over the top of the rings. It's going to be about managing that rest. You want to be strict on our rest. Hayley, great big kip.
Don't forget, folks, as well, if you're watching at home, we still have 2 heats of the team competition to come. So there's still a lot to come in tonight's coverage. So don't forget that we've got that. But this event, we're 5 minutes into a 14-minute time cap. So there's still an opportunity for some fast times in this competition. And the current leading time in this women's is 10:10, I believe it was, in terms of from the earlier heat. Is the 10:10 is the mark to beat.
We should start to see hands in the air.
This is
from
Emily
our
Lundberg.
judges.
This is Emily Lundberg in lane 8.
Straight arming those muscle ups, very impressive, but small sets. And there's Steph Trung, center screen. Alison Scudds in the grey pants, green bra. Steph Trung in the blue pants, white bra. And there's Camilla in the black pants. Little shakeout, very powerful athlete. Really makes use of the kip nicely. She's got those strong legs. She wants to get them over the top of the rings and not waste too much energy on the upper body. Boom!
We spoke, oh, here we go, we got a hand up there for Hayley Adams. So it looks like Hayley Adams is going to be the first person out here, or back onto the floor for the 30 snatches at 42.5 kgs. So we'll keep an eye on, there we go, Laura Horvath, as judges, put up 5 reps to go. So Hayley does have a slight lead here. No rep, she got no rep there on that final one. So she's not there yet. Here's Alison Scudds in lane number 2 with less than 5 reps to go. So she is in the mix.
That's between Alison Scudds and Hayley Adams. She's just struggling with that
no
dip.
Rep again, so she's probably maybe a fatigue factor. She's like, you can see the judge explaining to her that she hasn't quite found that mark. Does that give Laura Horvath a chance to move ahead?
This is a window for Laura here.
And also for Alison Scudds as well, there in lane 2.
And that's Alison Dunn.
Scudds is actually our leader. Gets that weight belt on.
Surprise advance there. Very impressed with Alison there. And there's Hayley advancing to the bar.
So Hayley's got past those 2 no reps to get herself onto the bar. Now, how quickly can she cycle through this? And can she find enough to beat Alison Scudds in this workout?
That's 1 rep for Alison.
Laura Horvath is onto the bar. So this is the race to the finish now. We've got 3 athletes who are very close to each other. It's going to come down to how quickly they can cycle through these bar movements.
And all top 4 athletes, based on their seeding, seem to have advanced to the barbell.
So there's Hayley Adams rolling the bar forward. So she's on to her second set of 10 within the bigger shot of 30. So she is our leader. We'll just try and cast an eye down against Alison Scudds. But Hayley Adams is the one who's got the lead currently. Laura Horvath is trying to make up the gap. She's moving the bar forward. So Laura Horvath may not be out of this just yet.
The cadence of Hayley, though, you notice her rep speed. Laura Horvath is taking a little bit of time setting up. You know, she's finding her hand, her hook grip. Hayley, the moment her hands go on, it's overhead. Very, very good work.
And does that come from practice, 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 knowing where your bar is, knowing exactly the grip you want to have?
Well,
or is it accepting the grip might not be perfect?
No, Laura had a back issue earlier in the season, so she's probably aware of that. She needs to make sure she sets her health, really sets herself very, very carefully. But Hayley, amazing work. She knows that she can move this load. It's just a question of gripping and throwing that bar overhead.
Here we go. So Hayley Adams is the one who's making the mark. It looks like she may be coming in under the 10-minute mark.
Be interesting to see if she can beat her time from the games.
10:40 from the games that Hayley hit. We saw Matt Fraser beat his time from the games. Again, reminder that the games, the workout was the last workout of the games weekend. Here it's the second workout, so that should potentially lends itself to being a quicker time.
Gabriella Migala's made a move on her final set of 5, but Hayley Adams
taking it in 9:50
across the line.
That's the win at 9:48. We'll just see who's going to come in second place. Is it Laura Horvath or is it Gabriella Migla? Is it Alison Scudds, sorry. It's actually Gabriella Migla. So there's Migla taking second place.
Oh, and a foot race.
What a finish there.
And Alison Scudds, unfortunately, just slightly struggled on that barbell, and we had the two powerful athletes of Steph Chung
and Camilla Salamonson. And there's Laura Horvath coming in. She looks happy. She looks content with what she's maybe done there. She probably felt that was a bit of a burner. That was.
And Alison
Scudds. She looks like that final bar movement was actually a bit of a killer for her. So we're just looking at lane 1. We've got Manon Saint-Maxon. And then the far end of the floor, we've got
Taylor Howe,
and Sapphire Goddard.
Handful of reps for Taylor, and she's done.
Taylor is done. So
well
10:54 or so is the final time for Taylor Howe. We'll see what impact that has for her in terms of moving her up the scoreboard. There's Manon Saint-Maxon. She was here last year, competed extremely strongly last year. It'll be interesting to see how she copes over the competition weekend this year. She's got plenty of time on that time cap, over 2.5 minutes to go on the time cap, so still good time to play with for her. Final 5 reps.
Handful of reps left for Sapphire Goddard as well. Emily Lundberg finishing off. So 2 more athletes on the floor. Another 2:30 remaining. Hands in the air for Maxime Maxon.
And a Sapphire Goddard.
And a touch and go to finish for Maxime Maxon. 3 reps. Very impressive.
There we go. So that's Manon Saint-Maxon taking the final spot. And I think we've still got Sapphire Goddard out in lane 10 on the floor. So let's see if Sapphire can take and finish this under the time cap. It's just under 2 minutes to go.
5 remaining for Sapphire Goddard. Little look over at the clock. Remember, she is racing against others in previous heats. So she needs to move. These points, as we drop down the leaderboard, you're not going to score very high.
Here we go. This is Sapphire Goddard. She has got the workout. There's Hayley Adams cheering her across the line. Well done to Sapphire. 12:43 to finish that heat off. Congrats to her. Well done. That wraps up the women's heats for today in the individual competition. Remember, we've still got the team competition to come up at 6:45. So heat 1 of the elite heat event number 2. So lots to look forward to coming up. And I think we'll hopefully catch up with Hayley Adams after this, just to have a chat to see how she's feeling after that workout. But Hayley Adams looked pretty imperious in that.
She's just, I'm so impressed with her. She's just, how can you have such a calm head? And I don't want to belittle her and say she's a baby, but you know, in the grand scheme of things, her age, you know, she performs like she's been in this sport for years. Very, very well done to Hayley Adams.
And just thoughts in terms of our, let's say, our home athletes in that final heat. Taylor Howe looked like she was fighting her way through that, but still had a very good time to come across the line. So she could well be in the mix, putting herself in there for a good spot going into the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, I think Taylor, traditionally, she's a bit of a slow starter. The events later on in the weekend are certainly going to suit her. They're heavier. And I'm really excited to see what she can do.
There's a great shot of it's a great shot of Hayley there finishing across the finish line, but actually Hayley's with Lauren right now. Lauren, it's over to you.
Hayley, you've had so much success in the last year. Have you actually taken a chance to take stock of it all?
I haven't. I started college right after the games, so it's just been training in school. So no, I've just been putting my head down working, and yeah.
But that performance at the games last year, could you have ever imagined that things would have gone so well?
I don't want to say I didn't believe in myself, but I definitely didn't have the confidence that I do now. And I'm just hoping for a good year and staying healthy, so yeah.
Confidence, you're dominating a field, a really deep field of female athletes. I mean, what mindset-wise, how have you managed to change from being that teen athlete to someone who can dominate amongst such a packed field?
I think it goes a lot back to training. Like, I'm used to getting my butt kicked every day in training, so I mean, I just do what I do there and just work hard and bring it to the competition floor, and it carries over.
Butt kicked by the team at Mayhem, I imagine.
Yes.
What have they added to your training?
I just want to say, like, maybe, I don't know, they just added a lot of knowledge to my brain about what's smart, and just they're amazing training partners, and yeah.
You've already qualified for the CrossFit Games, so where does this kind of fit into your overall competition season?
I wanted to start off 2020 with a year and prove that last year wasn't a fluke. So I was just hoping to have a good season starting here at Strength and Depth.
Well, it's been great watching you, great event, and I'm sure we'll speak to you a little bit later in the competition.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hayley looked a little bit tired there, understandably. Tough first day here at the Strength and Depth event here in London. Thoughts on her reaction to that and how she is looking for that? Obviously, Lauren rightly said she's qualified for the games already, but she's here to continue to improve as an athlete.
Yeah, I think it really sums it up nicely. Sorry, my mic. I think it really summed up nicely that she wants to prove that last year wasn't a fluke. So this year is her putting her stake in the ground and saying, look, I'm here to stay. You better watch out. And she's just shown by two really dominant performances. In event number 1, she came second, and she just won event number 2. Amazing performance by Hayley Adams.
So somebody who's 19 years of age, that's somebody who's got a lot of potential in the future. She's already kind of living up to that potential. But what could she do in potentially taking on somebody like Tia-Clair Toomey at the Games, maybe not this year, but in future years?
I mean, you know, the great thing about this sport is that we love it when we get the young guns moving through. And, you know, there's every chance that Hayley in the next few years could be on the top of that podium.
Absolutely. Look, well, there we go. There's the final result from event number 2, the standard. Fascinating to see that final layout. So Mirka Henriksson, who we saw earlier, Nicole Chauvin, who was actually in heat number 3 of the 4, both her and Mirka have moved themselves into a phenomenal position. And we look at Taylor Howe down there. Even though she didn't necessarily have the best heat there, she's done brilliantly well. You look, even top 3, we've got first, second, and 3 people, 3 athletes have got the same time at 10:07 to take third in that heat. So fascinating work and incredible efforts by all of those athletes.
Yeah, the foot race between Camilla and Steph was really, really nice to watch. They were kind of going rep for rep on the muscle ups, and then when they both got onto the barbell, you know, the way this workout is set out, you can see the race unfold, and that's what I love about these workouts. We're going to really get to see tight foot races throughout the entire weekend.
And here we are, just have a chat and have a chat over the overall standings as we go through this in the female elite competition. We're seeing some names down there, so the likes of Sarah Adams, she's had a tough day, but Sapphire Goddard did very well coming through in that final heat. She beat the time cap, and we're going to move up the list now as well. And we'll see some names there. So somebody like Taylor Howe, she had a tough run, but she's moved herself up into 12th. We saw Paige Powers earlier. She was 15th after the run. she's moved up a place, and the likes of Alison Scudds and Kelsey Keel have moved themselves into the top 15. So great effort from them. Karis Webster, who was number 1 going into this event, has dropped down to 7th. But look at that top score. Hayley Adams, with a 1st and a 2nd from the opening 2 workouts, has, I would say, laid down a challenge to the rest of this field.
Yeah, and people are just going to be gunning for her. You know, Hayley's already got her spot, Laura's already got her spot, Gabriella's already got her spot, and Camilla's already got her spot. So Mirka currently is in that golden ticket, that Willy Wonka spot for the games. Yeah, this is really going to hot up.
Well, it's well done to Mirka for making such a move as coming in where she has. And also, Nicole Chauvin, she is also somebody who we should be looking out for over the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we can't discount anyone on this list. We need to watch all of them.
All right, awesome. So look, that's the females in terms of what they've achieved today. Terrific effort by Hayley Adams, by all of the athletes. Don't dismiss any of the efforts by any of them, but terrific work by Hayley to take out the lead. We're now coming into the final set of events for today. So final 2 heats is the team competition. The workout, a little bit different. So this one is 60 clean and jerks, 62.5 kilograms, split between the 2 male athletes. We'll then see 15 synchro ring muscle-ups. How hard is it to synchro muscle-up for one? We'll come back to that. We then hand over to the female athletes who will do 15 synchro ring muscle-ups, and then 60 snatches, 42.5 kilograms, again the female double. So there's a lot of work coming in for the teams, and there's a lot of tactical work in terms of how quickly you try and blitz this. So thoughts on the overall workout and what these athletes have got to look forward to?
So this is obviously a take on what the individuals have just done. I really like the way Ollie has bracketed the lifting with muscle-ups. The first set of muscle-ups for the males, they need to pace in a way that could potentially allow them to do all 15 synchro muscle-ups unbroken. Similarly, the reason the muscle-ups are first for the females is we're trying to see if there are any out there that can do them unbroken. And then when you go into the snatches, you can break them as you want. So I do 2, you do 5, I do 1, you do 10. Yeah, exactly. So
I only wish it was actually that way, Ben.
Yeah, so it's short and sharp on the barbell, and then who can go unbroken on the muscle-ups? Again, this workout is going to be all about the muscle-ups.
So we're talking about synchronization, and we'll talk about it as well through the actual event when it's live. But synchronization of a ring muscle-up cannot be easy.
No, it is very, very tricky. You've got to get the timing right. You don't want to be wasting any time flailing around on those rings. It's all about the lockout at the top. So as long as one of you's locked out and the other one then locks out, you're golden.
Excellent. Well, let's have a look at the first heat, the lineup in terms of the lane allocation. So let's take you through that from CrossFit. So lane 1, it's CrossFit Glasgow. Lane 2, it's Wolfpack from CrossFit Oslo. Lane 3, it's CrossFit Serval from France. Lane 4, it's Team Nordvest Black from Denmark. In lane 5, it's AOD Fitness from the UK. Lane 6, another French team, the Unit. In lane 7, Danish team. Again, we talked about how strong Danish CrossFit is right now. Team Aarhus CrossFit. In lane 8, I love this name, Stratton Oakmont from the Wolf of Wall Street. Great name for a team, and I love that. Lane 9, it's CrossFit Chester Elite in lane 9. They will bring up that first heat. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys do. CrossFit Oslo Wolfpack have won SID Origins before. They have made a big impression on that after JST. So they've got some talent in that squad.
Yeah, seriously talented setup there. You know, we see really, really strong athletes coming out of that box. So I think they're ones to watch. I also think your Wolf of Wall Street team have got some talented athletes in there as well. Oakley Woodhouse, CrossFit Seminar staff, she's having a bit of fun this weekend, and I think, you know, they'd be my 2 shouts for the weekend. Oh, sorry, for this event.
So we'll keep an eye out then on this lineup then for the weekend. So we'll see who's going to be the ones that make the mark. So just a reminder then, it's going to be the male athletes that will start on the bar. They'll then go back for synchronized ring muscle ups. Then the women will just come back in, come into it with synchronized ring muscle ups, and they'll then finish on the bar at 42.5 kg. So this should be an incredible workout. Be great to see this first attempt by these set of teams, to see their approach and how quickly they can lay down a marker, knowing how strong some of the other teams are further on in the competition.
Yeah, I think, you know, the first time being underneath the lights, being in this big arena surrounded by a huge crowd is really going to get the adrenaline pumping, and they're going to want to put on a show for everyone here spectating.
Oh, we're just hearing from the event organisers. There's going to be a 1-minute delay on this, so we'll just keep chatting as we've been chatting all day. You mentioned Oakley Woodhouse. You've trained with her, you've competed with her. We know how good an athlete she is. It must be great for her to come back and compete rather than necessarily being a coach.
Yeah, and you know, I think if you're of that sort of competitive nature, you always love being on that competition floor. The buzz you get, being surrounded by your teammates, you know, it's unlike anything else. So I can understand the draw, and yeah, I think she's just gonna want to have some fun. She's in the same team as her fiance, so hopefully there won't be any tiffs. But we'll soon see. Luckily, they're not having to synchro together. It's the males are synchroing and the females are synchroing.
Well, it's interesting you talk about couples in the teams. Obviously, the Vondel Gym Motion merger, who finished second in the run earlier, there's 2 couples in that team, so we definitely don't want to see any tips this weekend. Okay, so it looks like the final adjustments on the equipment have been completed, so it looks like we might be just about ready to get this heat on the go. We'll just listen out for the hooter. We've got the judges on the floor, both on the bar and also at the floor with the for the clean and jerk. So remember, it's 60 clean and jerk between the 2 male athletes at 62.5 kilograms. They'll then come back to the rings to do 15 synchro muscle ups. 15 synchro muscle ups for the girls, followed by 60 snatches at 42.5 kilograms. And the time cap is 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We spoke about generous time caps earlier. Is this a generous time cap?
I think this is I think there may be some teams that don't get through, but I think this is a pretty strong represent. You know, the reps are doubled, but because you're splitting them between you, you're effectively getting a little bit more rest. You don't have to keep going back to the bar. I think that's going to enable them to keep moving. I wouldn't be surprised if we see perhaps a big set to begin with of a touch and go unbroken, and then as they get closer to needing to do muscle ups, they'll go to singles, hopefully finish with a big set of unbroken ring muscle ups before releasing their female athletes.
Very interesting. It looks like CrossFit Glasgow have gone with a 5-rep cycle so far, and they think it'll be interesting to see if they consider that approach. Continue that approach, rather.
Yeah, CrossFit Glasgow, great box. Obviously in Glasgow, huge membership numbers across a bunch of arches. Really a fantastic gym based up there, and their community is so strong. Really nice to see them on the competition floor.
And then we've got CrossFit Oslo, the Wolfpack team there in lane number 2. We know how good they are as a box. They have, as we said, they've won SID Origins previously, so we know how good they can be. We're just moving down the line. We'll just go through all of them. That's CrossFit Serval from France in lane 3. They're moving that bar forward, and they look like they are very close to be leading this heat actually so far. Here in lane 4, it's Team Northwest Black. Lane 5, AOD Fitness from the UK. Lane 6, another French team, the Unit. Good name as well.
The Unit. They've been doing big sets, the Unit, touch and go. They're actually the first to advance the bar. There's Sean Hardwick of the Wolf of Wall Street. Moving lovely, nice big set there. And there's Stefan Little. Let's see what he does. That's 1. Imagine they're going to be on sets of 5. That's 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5s. I think they're going to advance when they get to 40 reps. So this should be 2 sets of 5 for each athlete. And then I imagine they're going to make their sets smaller as they prepare to go for the clean, for the
So there
muscle
we go.
ups.
So that is Stratton Oakmont moving the bar not first. Actually looks like quite a few people have moved that bar further forward. CrossFit Glasgow look like they're flying.
CrossFit Glasgow, lovely movement. And also in lane 3,
Yeah, lane 3, that's CrossFit Serval, the French team. But Nordvest Black have caught up, so they're moving into the final section of their set of 60. Got to remember, this is 60 snatches, it's not 30, so it's 30 in the individual event. This is 60, sorry, clean and jerks. 60 clean and jerks that they're working their way through. There's a lot of work in that.
There is a serious amount of work, but as I said, because you can break it up and share the load, it's almost like doing a little interval piece. The question is going to be, now they've kind of shot out the blocks here, are they going to be able to hold on to the amount of muscle-ups that are required? Because the fastest time is going to be, can you do your muscle-ups unbroken? That's what I think. I could be wrong.
15 of them in synchro, so the volume for them is different, but the complication to this is the fact that they've got to do it synchronized. So you might see the stronger athlete maybe having to lock out and hold for longer as he waits for his partner to join him. So there we are. CrossFit Glasgow are the first up onto their synchro muscle up. So followed shortly after by lane 6 and 7. That's the unit and Team Aarhus CrossFit from Denmark.
4 reps for CrossFit Glasgow. 5. So 6 reps for CrossFit Glasgow. And lane 6 looking to be doing a massive set.
So we've got lane 6 as the unit, lane 7 is Team Aarhus CrossFit, lane 8 Stratton Oakmont, lane 9 CrossFit Chester at Blue Elite.
I think it could be between lane 6 and lane 7.
Here we are in lane 6 and 7. This is the unit, the French team, and Team Aarhus CrossFit.
And lovely synchronicity from the unit. You notice your athlete in the tie-dye shirt just looking over. So 5 reps remaining for the unit, 5 reps remaining for Aarhus.
As a man who has competed at the games as part of a team, how do you decide who calls the move first? Who is the one
The
who's
weaker
leading?
athlete. The weaker athlete is always the caller. And it looks like Stratton Oakmont are hands in the air. So we've got a bunch of athletes.
There we go. So Aarhus CrossFit are moving up to the bar. So they will now go to the finish line. They will now wait for the females in their team to hit their synchronized muscle up. So
tactically, they were so keen to jump off the rings, they've let their rings swing. And now the females have had to wait until they're set again. So Team Aarhus, there's just a set of 2 there. I would have expected a larger set. Let's see how Stratton Oakmont, that's 2 for Stratton, 3 for Stratton.
they look pretty smooth and very, very synchronized
So
in this
Oakley
movement.
Woodhouse on the right, incredibly talented athlete, lovely body positions, and Janie Garrett as well. Bit of a beast. So that looked like 5 reps for Stratton Oakmont. Are they going to go for 3 sets of 5? It was a small set for Team Aarhus CrossFit. Perhaps one of their athletes is struggling, so it was a single for Aarhus. That's 6 reps for Stratton.
So we're coming up to 6:15 on the clock. Time cap of 15 minutes, remember. So there's still a lot of work to do, but it looks like at least a good handful of these teams will be going under that 15-minute time cap, probably everybody, but we shall see if that prediction comes true.
I don't know if you saw in the corner of the screen there, first to the bar were CrossFit Glasgow, and they've only just finished, first to the rings were CrossFit Glasgow, and they've only just finished their muscle ups. So I think lanes 7 and 8 are the ones we want to keep watching.
Stratton Oakmont have got their judge has got their hand in the air, so we're seeing them. There we go. First move actually is in the middle of the floor. It looks like it's come from either Team Northwest Black or CrossFit Serval. I think it was Northwest Black who were the first ones to move onto the bar.
I think it's between Stratton Oakmont and lane 4.
There's a no rep there.
One
though,
rep
for
remaining
so
for
one
Stratton.
rep it looks like.
Just coming up to over halfway on the time cap. And look at that struggle on the left, that muscle up, just that last little bit getting over the rings.
Is this tougher for the female athletes to get up to? Because they obviously the rings are set for the height of the guys, and you can see there the girls are having to really stretch to even get onto the rings. That surely must be a disadvantage, and there's extra effort going into getting onto the rings in the first place.
Yeah, I think so, but all the athletes are in the same boat.
There we go. So Stratton Oakmont are clear. Stratton Oakmont are off the ring muscle ups. They're going to move straight on to their 60 snatches. So the men had 60 clean and jerk.
Nice.
The women have got 60 snatches. So this is Oakley Woodhouse.
3 reps completed. Janie Garrett should be light. Easy. Look at that. Lovely bar path by Janie. That's 3 reps. That's 4. 5. So that's 8 reps completed for Stratton Oakmont. And no one else is with them, alone in the middle of the field. Oaks has dropped to singles.
Can anybody get themselves onto these 60 snatches to compete with Stratton Oakmont? Stratton Oakmont have made a move much like the main man in the Wolf of Wall Street and really sort of skidding the competition.
Very good. Still.
So coming up to 5.5 minutes left on the time cap. It does look like Stratton Oakmont will take this win unless anything disastrous happens. But they're looking very strong. Nobody's got close to them. Nobody's got anywhere near to them. So here we go. They're moving on to the next set of 20.
Advancing with the barbell overhead. This is light for Janie. Really nice work.
Even Oakley looks very comfortable where she's standing. She looks very happy just to sit there, take the breath, go again, control the bounce of the bar, and she's straight into the next lift.
So this crew competed here last year and had a great time, and they've come back for round 2. So it's just, you know, a testament to how well run this competition is. People want to be involved for multiple.
So there we go. We've got
times.
CrossFit Chester Elite are the next team onto their bar. So they've got their 60 snatches to go. There's just under 5 minutes left on the time cap.
And Barry, I may have called it wrong, but we may see in the first heat a number of teams not get through that time cap.
It does seem that way. I think there's a real danger of that happening. Now, we've got another team, looks like in lane number 4, that is Team Northwest Black have made it onto the snatches as well.
And in lane 5, we've got AOD Fitness have picked up an empty barbell. This athlete seems to have done a set of, I think, 10 reps unbroken. Unbelievable.
Certainly made it look like it was an empty barbell, didn't she?
Wow. So both these athletes, very powerful, strong athletes.
This is Helen Nutter and Shelley McCoy for the AOD Fitness team.
Shelley moving nicely with the barbell. Helen with a massive set beforehand. See, she's catching her breath, but it seems like they've probably discussed what sets they're going to do. Big sets of 10. So
look what they've done. They've really moved that up. And then CrossFit Chester Elite on the far side in lane number 9 are also moving the bar up the floor. So actually, we might have been doing them a disservice in saying they're not going to break the time cap. It seems that there's a lot of teams now who are flying through these snatches. They've got through the difficulty of the muscle-ups. And here we go, so final 5 reps, we're under the final 5. Looks like it's going to be Oakley Woodhouse going to get the chance to finish this off for Stratton Oakmont. They're going to get the chance to set the level in this team comp. And there we go, they're going to be coming through in 12:10. Great effort by Stratton Oakmont, so they take that heat win.
Brilliant work by Oakley, Stefan, Janie and Sean. Very well done from Stratton Oakmont. Who is going to join them next? Will it be the AOD girls, or is it going to be lane 6, the unit?
The Stratton Oakmont, just going back to their first event, they came 11th in the run and the sandbag carry. So that's just won them the heat. So we know there's 19 teams in the competition, so surely that will move them up into the top half of the table. But it remains to be seen if anybody else can make their move. AOD are really pushing for this to get in that second place for this. Be interested to see how the guys out in CrossFit Chester Elite are getting on out in lane 9.
I think we're going to see hand in the air for AOD shortly. And in lane 9, CrossFit Chester Elite were also advancing at the same time as AOD.
Here we go, so final 5 for AOD. 90 seconds thereabouts left on the time cap. AOD will beat the time cap. Will anybody else get close to that and get under that key marker?
And Shelley McCoy,
there
strong
we go.
finish.
They have had a terrific end to that heat. Well done to them. 13 minutes 41. Anybody else? Can we see anybody else going to break this time cap? A minute left on the time cap. Fatigue is kicking in for all of these teams as they try and get to that final mark. CrossFit Glasgow, after such a terrific start, have had a tough second half of this workout. You can see the pain on their face. This is CrossFit Chester Elite. They've got 5 reps to go. Can they get there? Here we go. So final push for these guys. They've got just under 4 reps to go. So is it going to be CrossFit? There's 30 seconds left on the time cap. There we go.
Team Nordvest
Team
Black.
Nordvest Black are going to win there. 14:31, and there's CrossFit Chester Elite. 14:35. Congratulations to them. Great work for getting across the line. 15 seconds left on this clock. 15. There we go in lane 2. That is CrossFit Oslo Wolfpack of lane 3. That's CrossFit Serval who finished. Sorry, that was lane 2. Lane 2, that was Wolfpack finishing it. CrossFit Serval are still on the muscle-ups.
Wow.
Wow, that was tough.
That was really tough.
We predicted a few would get under the time cap. We were talking about, was it generous? And maybe actually it's a tougher time cap than any of us thought.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to those muscle-ups, doesn't it? I think, you know, we saw the guys, it was about being conservative, nice, smooth reps, you know, rhythm before they get onto the muscle-ups. The women, it was the opposite. Let's get the muscle-ups done and then just rip that bar as fast as we can. Two different approaches.
There's a fantastic shot we've just seen, which is not on camera right now, but of Team AOD Fitness. One of the girls was carrying her partner. Obviously, there was a lot of work going into that, and you could see fatigue had obviously hit her big time. Probably a lot of adrenaline coursing through her body there. It's like, yeah, but I'm done.
And well, they are done.
Absolutely.
Day 1.
They are. There's CrossFit Chester Elite in terms of the highlights on the slow-mo, looking strong. They fought back brilliantly after having a tough muscle-up session, which the muscle-ups seem to have caught out, I would say, 8 out of the 9 teams there. Only really Stratton Oakmont really got the synchronization and the strength to get through those muscle-ups effectively.
And as we said earlier, it's not just about being great at muscle-ups, it's not just about being great with the barbell. We need to be average at both.
Average at both. I'd say a little bit better than average at both, but we'll see how that plays out.
It's all relative.
Okay, actually, Lauren is down there with Stratton Oakmont. Is Leo DiCaprio anywhere near you, Lauren?
Don't I wish he was. Stratton Oakmont, let's talk about where that name came from.
It's just from Wolf of Wall Street. We're just watching it and decided to need a name. Last minute book up, so as good as any.
Oh, it really is as good as any. It was a good one on the floor today. Guys, how much was that workout won by the girls' ability to do the muscle-ups?
100%. It was all Janie and Oakley. That was it. Me and Sean were just the same as every other bloke out there, but it just comes down to the women's muscle-ups, really.
Janie, how much training had you guys done together? Because you're not from the same part of the country, so how did you train this?
We didn't. The last time we trained was a year ago at this competition, so we're just really, really good at synchro without meaning to be, I think.
Well, it was brilliant to watch. Your two sets are couples, am I right?
Yeah.
So surely there must be a bit of synergy.
They're getting married this year.
Oh, you're getting married this year. Oakley, okay. How did he propose?
We were walking the dog. We were walking our dog Reginald, and he proposed then.
Oh, guys, that's so nice. Congratulations. It was an unofficial heat win. It was great to watch.
Nice to see that was actually Stratton Oakmont and linked into that movie, but they performed a little bit like Stratton Oakmont in the movie as well. So fascinating to see them talking about the fact that those girls hadn't actually worked out as a team since last year's event. There's something special in that. There must be something almost like a synchronicity that joins the two of them up to be able to perform that way.
Yeah, and I think once you have the skill, if you are well versed in how to execute, as long as you are waiting for the slower person, the synchro is not an issue. It's when we don't have the skill and we're really struggling in that lockout, that's when we're going to start to see breakdown and see them struggle. But both those athletes there were really comfortable on top of the rings, and they just chipped their way through. Looked really good.
They seem to be very relaxed in each other's company. That seems to be kind of one of the keys to being a great team, is like we saw that with our little merger team of Vondel Gym Motion. They're an international team, but actually there's a friendship there that guides them through and gives them the confidence to compete well together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, anyone now can produce a super team. But the fact is, unless you're training together and you know each other inside out, you probably aren't going to be at the top of that leaderboard. Vondel Motion, they've known each other for several years. So that's why they're of the caliber they are.
Absolutely. So we've just got under 10 seconds to go in the final heat of today, of day one's action here at CrossFit Strength in Depth here in London. This is, well, we've got a certain Mr. Rich Froning, Scott Panchek, and the team from CrossFit Mayhem Freedom, get that the right way round. That is a lineup and a half, so we're into this. So we'll take you through the lane order. In lane 1, nearest the camera as you see right now, that's the athlete program. Lane 2, it's Vondel Gym Motion. Lane 3 is Nasty X Saxons. In lane 4, we've got trainlikefight.com. In lane 5, it's CrossFit Mayhem Freedom. They are the guys to beat, surely. Froning is on a mission. I think he might have been a little bit annoyed after what happened in the run earlier today.
But Mickey's moving nicely from Team Wade.
Team Wade, I think, could be the ones that really challenge CrossFit Mayhem Freedom this weekend. Team Wade are in lane 6. Lane 7 is CrossFit Roseland. Lane 8 is Team Metal Co. Lane 9, Jolly Sailor Invincibles. And lane 10 is Esprit de Corps. So this is the current top 10 ranked teams in the competition. Fascinating to see how these guys will work their way through this workout, especially after we saw the winning time from Stratton of 12:10 in that first heat.
I think these guys are going to obliterate that time. Look at the way they are moving. Two icons of the sport, Rich Froning and Scott Panchek. It was amazing when they used to compete head-to-head in the 2012 2013 CrossFit Games. At the regionals, there's some great highlight reel of them rep for rep, and the way in which they're now teaming up on the same team, you know, it's just so good to watch.
Well, we were saying when we were reviewing that first event result with Team Wade winning that and CrossFit Mayhem Freedom not finishing as high as they thought, 62 points behind Team Wade. They have to go some to make sure they claim the win overall this weekend. So they've got to seriously consider winning every single event if Team Wade are capable of performing to the level that we know that, or that we've seen so far.
Yeah, and I think, you know, this is what we wanted to see. We want to see a race between the athletes. You notice there how Team Wade have dropped to singles so they can do big sets of muscle-ups, whereas the Mayhem boys have kept with their fives throughout.
And the Mayhem boys, who were just saying they're onto the ring muscle-ups already, I have a funny feeling that this might be quite quick.
I think they're going to go unbroken.
There we go. Let's see if that works its way out. Here we go. Well, so it cuts them now. Let's see if this is an unbroken set, or do they conserve energy knowing that they do have a lead? Interesting to see what the tactic might be.
They will want to set their females off as soon as possible.
So just to confirm, the CrossFit Mayhem Freedom team, we've got the legend Richard Froning, the legend Scott Panchek. We then have China Cho, another games athlete, and Tasha Perseves, who is another strong athlete in this. This is a super team, right?
This is a super team, but they do it well, they do it properly, they train together day in, day out. They are here to win, and they are going to make sure they do everything in their power to get there.
It's hard to believe that Rich Froning, obviously he's been in the CrossFit game for a long time, is only 32.
That makes me feel terrible.
But it's phenomenal what this man has achieved, and the fact he's still here competing at the top level. He's nearly a master, but I have a feeling he can still compete at this level for a long time to come.
And it looks like final rep for Mayhem, and they are going to run
there we go.
to the finish line.
Slight communication error, so he's made up for it by going for a sprint. So now we go to Tasha and China on their synchro.
So hopefully we can see them in lane 5 repping out, so that's 1.
Be interesting to see how Team Wade in lane 6 are doing. They looking like they are on their they've got less than 5 to go. There we go. So Team Wade have taken, they're the second team to finish out of this. Then there's the time Train Like Fight are also finishing. Their men are finishing. So they're onto their women on their synchro muscle ups. It looks like China and Tasha taking their time, but looking pretty nice. So they're on 8 reps.
So hopefully we can see them finish off. I think they might do this in 2 sets.
So predictions for the final time on this, 9.5. So there we are, there's Tasha and China in terms of their efforts to get through these muscle ups. They've got less than 5 reps to go, but also trainlikefight.com are looking fantastic in their synchros, and actually they may be closing the gap. We've got Team Wade, that's Emma McQuaid and Helena Collins. Actually, you've got to say Mayhem Freedom are looking a little bit scratchy.
So we've got no way did I think they would be
Here we go.
leading.
So Tasha and China
over
first
the Mayhem
off.
girls. But I think now when China and Tasha get onto these snatches, they're going to be doing big sets.
The trainlikefight.com are actually currently leading. We've got Team Wade just behind the Mayhem Freedom team. So there's the top 3. There's nothing between them at the moment. Trainlikefight.com look like they may still just have the edge. It'll be interesting to see who rolls the bar forward first.
And China Cho looking very comfortable on the barbell there. So the Wade ladies...
There we go, so neck and neck, nothing to separate these two teams. So that's Train Like Fight and CrossFit Mayhem Freedom are the two teams who look like this is going to be going right down to the wire. And it looks like they could be coming in under maybe 9 minutes, maybe even 8 minutes for this. Team Wade performing well over there in lane number 6.
But look at the speed of Tasha Perseverance on that barbell. Absolutely unbelievable. This is her jam. She is going to do everything she can to get these points for Mayhem, because boy do they need them at this moment in time.
If Train Like Fight were to beat Mayhem Freedom right now, that adds an extra level of challenge to their overall weekend, right? There's going to be anything that isn't a win, puts them into a tougher position going into days 2 and 3.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Wade girls are chasing them down too, but Mayhem are leading.
Are onto their final set of 10 reps.
China, big set.
TrainLikeFight.com are onto their final set of 10 reps. How are Team Wade doing? They look like they're a little bit behind.
Can Train Like Fight
this is
hold
going to be
onto the
close.
bar?
Train Like Fight, if they can go touch and go, this could be huge.
But Tasha, this barbell for her is just like a toothpick.
Let's keep an eye on those judges' hands. Who's going to get the 5 reps left first?
It looks like Tasha's going to finish it out with 5
There we go,
reps.
so final 5 reps then for Mayhem Freedom. It looks like they will get the win. 8:20, 8:30 on the clock. Team Wade onto their final set of 20. There we are, it's CrossFit Mayhem Freedom will take the win with 8:36 on the clock. Phenomenal time. That's beating Stratton Oakmont by nearly 4 minutes.
I mean,
nearly 4 minutes.
I thought the level was going to go up. I didn't realise by how much. Absolutely amazing.
But here we go. TrainLikeFight.com are going to come in at 8:55. Well done to them. So great effort by the Spanish team. Let's see what Team Wade can do. It looks like they will grab 3rd. But then looking actually at the guys in lane 2, that's Vondel Gem Motion. They could be finishing another top 5 finish. They could be putting themselves towards the top of the tree.
Grace is brilliant at snatching. Really, really lovely
Final
movement.
5 reps for them. Final 5. Let's see what we can see across the floor. Final 5 for Wade. Are they going to get it? Oh my God. What's going to happen
Final rep for Wade. Wade
are going to grab the 4th spot. Motion get 5th. So what an effort. 4th. So Team Wade get 3rd.
This is going to do wonders for Mayhem.
Gem get 4th, but Mayhem have put themselves back in the mix. Vondel Gem were in 2nd overall coming to that event. Team Wade were in 1st. It's going to be quite close. I think this team comp is shaping up to be something special.
Absolutely. Really, 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 really good comp.
So just under 5 minutes left on the time cap for the rest of the teams left in this heat. There's still some crews left on the synchro muscle-ups.
This bodes well for Stratton Oakmont. They could be moving up from the previous heat. And in lane 10, we've got Esprit de Corps. Again, big sets. When you've moved through the muscle-ups in a slower pace, you can often get back on that barbell. Your heart rate won't be as high, and you can hit a much bigger set. The thing we really want to work on here is that transition, fast transitions. Oh, and that's a no rep there. Just that bubbled out, the stability within the shoulders after being on those rings for those 15 reps would have really taxed them. So I love this combination. It's really clever piece of programming. So
this is lane 10, that's Esprit de Corps.
So it's looking like we've still got a few teams working through the muscle-ups. Jolly Sailor, who actually won Strength in Depth Origins earlier in the year. In lane 9, they're working through. Lane 8, we've got Team Metal Co. there working through, but in lane 10, Esprit de Corps looking like they're on their final set of 20.
So that time for Stratton Oakmont at 12:10 looks like these teams are not going to get close to that. There's still teams on the muscle up, so that's showing how tough it is. In lane 1, the athlete program looked like they could be undone by the muscle ups, as it looks like as well for Nasty X Saxon. So I think it's a tough workout for these guys. They're just maybe discussing tactics and how they can help each other. So there's still 4 teams on the synchro muscle ups. So Stratton Oakmont will be looking like they're going to have a top 5 finish with this time, which is a phenomenal effort from them. 2.5 minutes or so left on the time clock. Time cap.
Rolling forward for their final set of 10. But Esprit de Corps.
2 minutes 10 seconds left on the time cap. Who can get themselves under that and score some vital points in this fascinating team competition?
And now in lane 7,
CrossFit Roseland from the States have managed to get themselves onto the snatches. They have got just under a minute, minute and a half to get through 60 snatches. Is that doable?
I think they're going to be pushed, but based on how they are moving the barbell, this is going to look like a huge set of perhaps 15 reps. So definitely going to make some headway. And remember, they're racing against other teams from other heats, so regardless of whether they finish, they still want to get as many reps as possible.
Absolutely, that's the crucial thing. You're not just racing against the 9 other teams in this heat, you're racing against the 9 other teams in the heat previously. And as we said, there's still hugely valuable points to fight for in this competition.
And there Esprit de Corps.
There they are, well done to them. 14:03 unofficially crossing the line, so they have beat that time cap, which is better than some of the squads in the previous heat. So that's a good sign for them. They're in the mix.
We've still got lane 1 still working away on their muscle ups in the athlete program.
So just over 30 seconds left on the time cap. If they can get themselves off these muscle ups, they might give themselves a chance of scoring some extra points with these snatches. That is the guys in CrossFit Roseland there in lane 7.
Vicky Caruso and Tanya Labelle, or Label. Sorry about the pronouncing. That's Vicky Caruso there. Holding on. Look at her quads. Unbelievably powerful legs.
So 5 seconds left on the time cap. The hooter is about to sound. There we go. That is the time cap hit. 5 teams left out on the floor.
Phenomenal workout. I just love that we slightly flipped the switch and changed it up from the games. And I think it was an entirely different test. But I feel like we really got to witness a great race between Wade, Mayhem, and
Train Like Fight.
Unbelievable.
And also you've got to give special mention to Vondel Gym Motion. They've got themselves into the mix as well. 4 teams. As we said, this could be huge. And it looks like Lauren might have Mayhem Freedom in her sights, so we'll hopefully get to chat with them and speak with those legends. But I have to say, that workout was a lot faster than that first heat. And Mayhem Freedom beat that time, as we said, by nearly 4 minutes. 3:40 or so we reckon based on our, let's say, patchy calculations here in the studio. But huge credit to the Mayhem Freedom guys. They really fought back from what was actually a tough run session this morning. It'd be interesting to hear what they have to say. But great to see them perform so well.
Yeah, really, really nice. I like it when the top athletes show us what they're capable of. You know, they're obviously really in tune with each other. I think it must be strange for Scott not having competed in a team before. This is new for him, but I imagine he'll take it like a duck to water.
Okay, well actually, we have got Mayhem Freedom. They are with Lauren. Lauren, it's over to you.
Yeah, Mayhem Freedom are right next to me. Rich, you kind of come into this competition as like, you know, favourites. You've got a target on your back from the start, and you actually need to book your ticket to the CrossFit Games. Are you feeling pressure?
I mean, there's always pressure, and I don't think it's from the outside. I think it's from within, actually. You know, we want to push. We want to make each other better and push for each other. I don't think really, you know, the fact that we have to still qualify, we wouldn't push any harder if we didn't have to qualify. You know, this is who we are, and it's what we want to do. So, you know, it's fun to be out here and compete, and it's been a great crowd, incredible crowd for a Friday night. So excited for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, and a really cool workout as well. Tasia, so there was a little bit of a battle between you and TrainLikeFight.com. Did you expect that? And mentally, I guess your experience, how do you close moments like that out?
You definitely always expect the girls to move well on the bar. I think China and I just had a plan and we stuck to it. So just stayed in our own lane. We knew where everyone was at. Just had to go as fast as you can.
So we can't mention CrossFit Mayhem without mentioning the new boy. Scott, how are you settling in? Is this a bit of a weird environment given all your success as an individual athlete?
No, the environment is pretty much the same. It's just now I'm surrounded by amazing athletes that are going to push me to be better every day.
China, what's he like as a teammate?
He's a great teammate. He's really fit. Woo, I like it.
Oh, guys, it was great to see you in action. Hopefully we'll speak to you over the course of the weekend, but congratulations on that second event win.
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations to CrossFit Mayhem Freedom. Terrific effort for them. It's always great to hear from such legends of the sport. Interesting to hear what Rich Froney was saying about motivation and pressure, that it comes more probably from within than external pressures. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think as an athlete, you always put the most amount of pressure on yourself because you want to do well for you fundamentally. Okay, we do say there are external factors, but I think you're not going to be an athlete unless you're doing it for yourself fundamentally. So, you know, that pressure cooker, you can slightly offset it being in a team environment, and I think, you know, perhaps that's largely the reason Rich decided to go team. You know, he said it was very, very stressful being an individual athlete, and in that team environment you can bounce off each other. You know, you do perhaps train a little bit for each other, and that kind of takes it away from you a little bit.
And did you find that when you were in your team with the JST guys, when you were training up north, you moved from London up to the northwest of England to train with a team? You made a big move, similar to the likes of what Scott Panchik has done. You even see the Tia Claire Toomey making moves to train with like-minded souls. Did you find that beneficial for you in terms of your progress as an athlete to get to the games?
Yeah, I think the level at which I went up when I moved to Wigan was like nothing I've ever done before. You know, you need to be pushed every day if you want to advance. You know, it's a bit of a cliche, but you want to be a small fish in a very, very big pond, not the other way around.
Awesome. Well, okay, we've got something special to hear from Lauren, so we're going to go down to Lauren.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I think it's important. I mean, it's so exciting talking about the athletes and everything that's going on the floor, but this event wouldn't be taking place without the help of people like Stone Russell from Virus, one of our principal sponsors. And we're just going to get a little bit of information about everything he's representing on his shirt there.
Well, thank you, Lauren.
Thank
Actually,
you.
What we're doing right here in London is our kickoff of our world tour for 2020. So you can see the back of all the places we might be going. Do you see the back of the tee? So it's our first stop. So this is an important event for us. We did it last year, and it's great to see the success. It's doubled. So it's great to start here and then head out for the world tour. So it's happy to go and check out the vendor booth we're at. So.
Tell me a little bit about the brand. Now, I've seen some athletes wearing this. Off the top of my head in England, Emily Dwyer, Dave Shrunky. It's obviously a firm favorite. Where did it come from?
Well, we come from California. That's where we started. We wanted to make a compression pant that was really for strength and conditioning when we first did it in 2010. And so we got into with weightlifting and with the athletes, and they tested our products, and we came up with some technical fabrics and fabrication from it. And then from there on, we started touring with, you know, CrossFit community and weightlifting, where we really came from, and martial arts, of course. But then, you know, so we've always had a close relationship with the athletes, and from that we were able to expand on some other products and just have fun and do do things we love and work with people we love. So.
Well, thank you much for all the time that you put into this event and to the athletes who represent our sport. It was a pleasure chatting to you. I guess the question I'm going to leave you with is, how have you enjoyed your day?
Well, that last competition was pretty exciting, I'm not going to lie. Seeing the ladies get up and do it and seeing our products on some of the ladies is a really rush for us, and that's kind of one of the reasons why we do it. And this is a great event, and you guys are so technical with all this production and cameras and all this other stuff, so it's a really nice thing, a nice day, and it's a really accomplishment for us and our team, so it's great to be here.
Thanks, Stone. Pleasure to speak to you.
So great work there, Stone. It's great to hear from partners who are helping this event happen. So an awesome thing for them to be part of this event. And obviously these events sometimes can't happen without support from partners like that. But back into the competition, you can see up on the screen there the final results from that team workout number 2. CrossFit Mayhem, no surprise there, 8:35. But TrainLikeFight.com, terrific effort from them to get in 8:55. Great time. And Team Wade continuing their excellent start to the workouts and their competition this weekend.
Yeah, so I think when we look at the leaderboard, it's going to have jiggled around again. You know, there's still going to be the kind of athletes that, teams that we perhaps aren't expecting to be where they are, but I think it bodes well for a very solid competition over the next few days.
It certainly does. That's the lower half of the table, the guys who possibly had a tougher start to the occasion, but we'll move into the top 10. And Team Wade, after a fantastic start, still have the lead. They have a 42-point lead on CrossFit Mayhem Freedom, so that 100 points for Mayhem is massive. But TrainLikeFight.com have climbed in second place. Untitled Gym Motion, we mentioned them having a fantastic second place and then a 4th place, so great start for them. So we've spoken so much about how good it looks like these top 4 could be the players for the next 2 days.
Yeah, and I think, you know, before we went on air, I was really thinking about who is in the mix, and if I had to I mean, it has to be said, I didn't think TrainLikeFight.com would be up there, so it's really exciting to see a new team coming through that I'm unaware of, but I kind of expected Wade and Untitled Gym to be nipping at Mayhem's heels.
Well, awesome. It's great to see that we've got 3 teams nipping at those heels, and it'll be fantastic to see how that works out over the next couple of days. Actually, Lauren is down on the floor again with another partner of the event. It would be great to hear from him. Let's go down to Lauren.
I am, thank you, Barry. I'm with Maros Forgak of Raylan Fitness. Now, Maros, you're here predominantly with grips.
Predominantly, yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about the business, where it came from and where you're going?
It's very young business. It's been about 2 years now. We had a breakthrough last year with Jacob Hepner. He was doing reviews on his YouTube channel, and our grips happened to win. So since then, it's been growing steadily, and we kind of want to become the #1 grip supplier in UK and beyond after that.
Very cool that Jacob Hepner is reffing your stuff. In terms of this event, where do you see your values of what you're trying to do and what Strength and Depth is trying to do align?
Well, both companies want to be doing the best they can for the sport, right? We're trying to provide the best equipment we can for athletes, and I think Strength and Depth is doing the same for the athletes, providing the best event. So good experience and everything else comes together, you know.
What have you been up to this, well, today? We haven't even started the weekend yet, have we? Have you got a stall? Can people find you anywhere? Where should people be getting in touch if they want a new, fresh pair of Jacob Hepner grips?
Yes, we have a stall. It's in the Food Spring Arena. You can see us from far away. You can come and see the grips, touch the grips, you know, and compare them. Our team will help you if you don't know any questions. You can ask, and we'll help you out. And yeah, you can get a pair that Jacob Hepner wears as well.
Thank you so much, Maros. It was lovely to have a chat. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren. It's great to see again another partner who helps this competition to come to life and to kind of get to see some of these sort of technical things that have been developed for the sport of CrossFit. But we'll have more chats with a few more over the weekend. But first of all, look, end of day 1, terrific day of competition. We've got a lot to look forward to tomorrow. What are you most excited about? Is it something on the river?
Yeah, there might be a boat involved,
Yeah.
some Olympic rowers, some CrossFit athletes in the same boat.
Amazing.
I think it's really good.
All right, well, thank you so much for tuning in on day one. We can't wait to see you tomorrow. We're going to be back live at 8:45. First heat of the day kicks off at 9 a.m. We'll be here. We hope you are too.
1 minute dirt, say it again, man, and that's a reverse.